for you. We will be live all night. Thanks for joining us. I'm Keith Carson.
And I'm Mark Elliott. And now that we're well into the middle of the storm, we're going to keep you updated on the very latest model runs. If anything changes through the night, you'll hear it here first. Predicted snowfall totals, impacts, you know that you're going to know about it right here.
Let's take a look at the latest projections. Not a whole lot's changed here for snowfall, which is, the goal, Mark, is if we get in within 24 hours, we like to keep it the same. Big time snowfall across the mid-Atlantic, and I think it continues to be the hardest part is that northern fringe.
Yeah, but it's still an impressive amount of snow that's already come down across Kentucky, already over a foot in a few locations. Asheville doing very well with this storm. It's going to be hard to walk over to Greenman tonight. 10.6 inches of snow on the ground there. Even Lexington, Kentucky, 8 inches of snow. Pretty far into the south with some big-time snowfall totals. Pretty
sneaky in Nashville as well with 9 inches.
Yeah.
Let us get ourselves onto the ground, shall we? We have a guy for that. His name is Jim Cantori. You may have heard of him. And Jim, let me ask you, are you going to be able to sleep tonight? Because it looks like some of the best snowfall rates will be overnight tonight.
You know, I'm supposed to sleep from about 11 to 4, but you know doggone right well that's not going to happen. I mean, especially if I hear a little crack thunder outside. And there's a possibility of that. Guys, let me tell you, this is Lexington. I was just talking to some of the local police. They stopped by. We appreciate that. And I asked them, I said, guys, what's the deal? And they're like, well, honestly, Jim, not much, because it's like a ghost town right now. We just don't have a lot of people out here. I do see occasional taxis go by. Certainly the plows have been out here as well. They've been cranking it out. So we are doing very, very well. A couple of my thoughts on the storm, by the way, as long as I got you guys out here. I think we really dodged one in North Carolina in terms of the ice. We had a lot more sleet. We had a lot more snow at the onslaught, so not a major ice storm down there, thank goodness. It's not over, but I think we're going to be okay. We're not going to have a ½ to an inch of crippling ice. And look at how they go through town here with these plows. One comes by, the other one just to the side of that, and they just pretty much do a full swoop in through here and clean things off. We're snowing at about 1 inch an hour right now, guys, and I have to walk all the way over here just to get the actual snowfall measurement on the ground. We had about 4.5 last time I did this, was about a half hour ago. Given the snowfall rate, I wouldn't be surprised if we're at 5. There's a 4.5 measurement there. There's a solid 4 3/4. Let's go up here. 4 3/4. So we're not quite at 5 yet inches, but we are pretty doggone close in terms of what we're going to get. So think about it. If we're going to get 28 inches of snow, we haven't even gotten a fraction of what we're going to see by the time the total's out. The other thing that I thought was interesting, too, especially in North Carolina, we've already gotten 20 inches in Burt County, North Carolina. So that's just with the dynamics of the storm. The coastal low is just developing right now. It's just developing right now. So, that is something that I think is really interesting. We really haven't gotten into the blizzard part of the storm yet, and that's, going to take over tonight. I wouldn't be surprised either, Mark and Keith, if the entire I-95 corridor from D.C. to New York City tomorrow morning, 5, 6, 7 o'clock, somewhere there, is going to be almost impassable given the kind of snowfall rates and the winds that we're going to see in through here. So think about it. By the time all is said and done, this is the kind of snowfall we're talking in a few spots. And Western Virginia, possibly the Maryland Panhandle, right, guys?
Yeah, and Jim,
we haven't even started this thing yet.
You mentioned that chance for some thunder snow tonight, maybe waking you up out of your a couple hours of sleep. If you were a betting man, which I know you are, who's going to get that best dynamic? You think the district is going to get some thunder tonight?
All right, who's going to get the thunder snow? I think multiple states. I think Virginia, Maryland, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, maybe New York. That's a long shot, but I'm going to go with those 4. I'm going to go with Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, Delaware, and New Jersey.
Those 5, banding features got a lot of oomph still to go.
Guys, look at the high resolution model data. You can see them. You can see them. The RPM and the HER both popping these bands coming in during the overnight hours. Somewhere between probably about 4. And actually, it could even be earlier than that, the way they're starting to develop already. So somewhere, I'm going to say between 3 and even 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, I think we got a pretty legitimate shot at it here. And we may even get a couple of rounds of it. Each one of those banding features is convective. So when they come in, they can easily produce the thunder and lightning. And really all that means, folks, besides the Cantori thrill factor in that, is also you have heavier snowfall rates, right? We know that there's intense snowfall rates coming on down with those, probably 3-4 inches an hour when those babies come through. So we will be watching for those kind of dynamics. Absolutely watching for those. You know what I think is interesting? You see that snow, the radar you guys are showing right now? Pull it up a little bit to the south. Bruton, Alabama. Mobile, Alabama. Actually reporting a snow shower right now. All the way down in southern Alabama, near the Gulf Coast, down in Bruton, Alabama, we've actually got snow coming down on the ground right now. There it is right now, down to Dothan. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Jim, also some snow showers in Atlanta, which means we're going to shut down the city. Thank you, Jim. We'll check back in with you in a short.
Dothan, Alabama, that's about the type of live broadcast that I would get myself into.
Right.
Southern Alabama.
Right. All right, let's take a look at Winter Storm Jonas here by the numbers. 81 million people under winter weather alerts across 23 states.
31 million people under blizzard warnings, states of emergency in 9 states and the district, and power outages just beginning.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees with snow. Tonight, snow, low 18. Chance of snow, 70%. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Saturday, snow showers, high 24. Snow accumulating 1 to 3 inches. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Welcome back. You're taking a look at Philly, kind of. That's what Philly should be in the background there, but it is snowing pretty good. 24 degrees right now. So, yeah, Mark, I'd said it's a pretty good snow signature. You know, we're talking about D.C. a lot, and everybody in the country gets it. D.C. is going to get hit hard. A lot of other cities, too, though.
You're waiting on the flakes to get to New York, and still so many questions on that northern edge. Just how far north does that just buckets of snow get?
Right. At least nobody lives, like, right on that snow line.
Couple people.
That's the good news. Yeah, no, for sure. That is the hardest part of the forecast left, I think, is the northern side of that. Let us send it over to somebody we can make this decision.
We're gonna put him on the spot. Our winter weather expert Tom Nizzle is in-house. Tom, what do you think? That northern edge, New York City, gonna get 12 inches or 4?
I think there's parts of the city that could see double-digit snows out of this, and as you go north, it drops off very rapidly. But you know, we're dealing with this storm almost like it's a winter storm, so I'm going to call it like a hockey game, and I think we're in the first period right now. Tonight, second period tomorrow, and third period tomorrow night. You take a look right now at what we've got as far as the activity on the satellite now, and on the water vapor imagery, we're seeing this big spin in the atmosphere that we've got. That is a storm system itself. A lot of energy transferring out to the coast right now, and if we take a look at the radar, again, you can see the spin in the storm system here. Back in the cold air, yes, even Atlanta is picking up snow now. In Raleigh, you're just about done here. A little more freezing rain and sleet. There have been some reports of power lines and tree limbs that have come down, but you were spared because much of this freezing rain did not come down as freezing rain, but as sleet, and that helped keep the glazing down. Further out to the east, this is that plume of moisture we're talking about now that's coming up the Atlantic coast. As it comes into the cold air, we're getting banding of snow across this area, one band after another that is going through that region. And again, this is just the beginning. Getting into Philly, into Washington, D.C., eventually going to work its way up into New York City overnight. Look at that plume of snowfall here. The areas in the pink, 18 to 24 inches. In around D.C., 2 feet of snowfall. Why so much snow right in this area? It has to do with the duration, the time that this snow band, this entire storm is going to set up across that region. And a lot of it has to do with steering winds in the atmosphere. I'm going up into the cloud levels, about 4,000 to 5,000 feet in the atmosphere. This area in red is about a 60-mile-an-hour wind. And if you remember now, that's about where that plume of moisture is going right now. As we go through the next 24 hours, that really strong wind is going to turn to an easterly direction and bring a tremendous amount of moisture out of the Atlantic Ocean back across the mid-Atlantic. I'm going to leave that arrow on there because watch how nicely that matches up with where the maximum snowfall is going to occur. And again, 2 feet plus in these areas. Not only snow, but strong winds as well. Winds now gusting over 30 miles an hour in D.C. There we have it right there. There's the current time. Our computer model will go forward here. As we go into tomorrow morning, take a look at the heavier areas of blue all the way up into New York City from D.C. through Philadelphia, right along that Metroplex corridor. And as we go into Saturday afternoon, it continues. It stays locked in right across this region. Saturday night, guess what? Stays right in here as well, right along the coastal areas. And it's not until overnight Saturday night that we begin to see this move off of the coast. We even get Boston involved in a little bit of snow there as well before the system is completely gone. If we take a look at D.C., again, that plume of heavier snow, look at those totals in there, 27 inches of snow. As you go out to the east, it's a little bit less because we get into a little bit more of a rain situation as we get out to coastal areas. And then as you get up to the Philadelphia area, we're still looking at these huge snowfall amounts. It's not until you get into places like Cape May, New Jersey, where the totals drop off to 10 to 11 inches of snow. So a long ways to go in this event yet, and there's going to be a lot of wind with it as well. That's why the blizzard conditions are going to set up. Stay home, stay safe. Enjoy this weekend from the comfort of your home. Guys, I'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Tom. You know it's a good storm when the low-end amounts are, 10 or 11.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Child's play. Hey, let's take you to North Carolina, Durham, North Carolina, to be specific. Icy roadways across the state. We're hoping to show you that. The UPS trailer jackknife there, so it's a southern storm as well. We'll be right back.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees with light snow. Tonight, snow, low 18. Chance of snow, 70%. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Saturday, snow showers, high 24. Snow accumulating 1 to 3 inches. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Out there. Just one of the many headaches that people in the triangle, right? Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, North Carolina face if they have to venture out on the roads. Just getting going was tough. At last check, the North Carolina Department of Transportation reported crews that have been out there spreading more than 30,000 tons of salt across the state, using more than 2,000 trucks to do that job.
It's great for your windshield wipers to do that, by the way. Just let it...
Tears them up.
Just do that thing. Tonight, nearly 90 million people feeling the impacts of Winter Storm Jonas, and we still have a long while to go.
Yeah, NBC's Miguel Almaguer takes a look at the impacts already felt.
Tonight, this deadly winter wallop is showing little mercy. Blinding snow, paralyzing ice, widespread power outages crippling 20 states. Nashville, Tennessee going nowhere fast. More than 200 collisions in 6 hours, only getting worse. With 1 in every 4 Americans facing this brutal blast, it's a whiteout in Kentucky, and for many, a blackout at home. Tens of thousands in a deep freeze, without electricity or heat. With trees crashing into homes, cars are sliding into each other. Freeways a standstill, others a ghost town. It's a state of emergency in Washington, D.C. Inside the war room, calls for help have doubled. The blizzard could be catastrophic.
We haven't seen a storm like this in the district in 90 years.
Pro basketball and hockey games postponed. The National Guard loading Humvees, first responders ready to roll.
Road conditions is a big concern for us, making sure that we can actually get to the scene.
With gas pumps empty, store shelves are bare.
We've gone grocery shopping like 3 times, so.
Tonight, this monster storm, 1,000 miles wide, is bringing travel to a standstill. In Chicago, a plane skidded off an icy runway. Thousands of canceled flights. Tonight, New York is bracing. Philly expecting more than a foot of snow. D.C., 2.
Strong winds will lead to near zero visibility and cause trees to fall on overhead power lines.
Governor Christie off the campaign trail, now returning home.
Hate to be the bearer of bad news.
Mandatory evacuations tonight along the Jersey Shore, still reeling from Superstorm Sandy, now facing severe flooding and beach erosion.
Nobody wants to be in waist-deep, freezing cold water in the middle of, 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts and blizzard whiteout conditions.
Another relentless punch.
D.C. could remain in the bullseye for several hours. They say the conditions that could possibly develop could be life-threatening. We should begin to start digging out here on Sunday. The big question, what will happen between now and then? Back to you.
All right, thanks, Miguel. Let's take a look at what's going on with Jonas right now. We'll start with the lead, so to speak, the amount of snowfall that we expect across the entire mid-Atlantic. Some huge bullseyes here, 18 to 24, of course, and 2 feet plus. Here's the current radar, the center of the low starting to move here, and you can see the rain-snow line pretty much where we expected. The Outer Banks rain, some convection ongoing there, but it's moisture transporting into that cold air. It's where we're getting that really heavy snowfall rates that are going on across the mid-Atlantic. Meanwhile, we mentioned it's also a southern storm. Seeing some snow here in Atlanta. Everyone's freaking out. No one's on the roads. That's good. Probably going to get about an inch of snow or so in the Atlanta metro area. That's that cold air being dragged down on the backside of Jonas. Meanwhile, as I mentioned, here's the rain-snow line. You know, it's interesting. We don't expect this rain-snow line to really go much farther inland. It will kind of track in the direction you see it, to the north and east, and a place like D.C. that often deals with precipitation type issues really shouldn't have too many of those with this storm. A few sleet pellets of possibility, otherwise they should be straight snow. Temperatures in the 20s and 30s right now. Didn't get much in the way of ice here, as Jim mentioned. That's the good news, but still some snow on the backside through Tennessee. All right, we'll be back after the break tracking the latest on Jonas.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees with light snow. Tonight, snow, low 18. Chance of snow, 70%. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Saturday, snow showers, high 24. Snow accumulating 1 to 3 inches. Here's our 7-day outlook.
I think people need to take this very seriously and recognize that this is the real thing.
This is no normal winter storm.
It should not be taken lightly.
We can expect heavy snow, strong winds, and whiteout conditions. Literally meaning the driver cannot see what's happening in front of them.
Don't go out until it's really safe to go out.
Get what you need done today. Stay off the roads.
Oh, drone down there. You know, the snow really kicked into high gear this morning, buried some cars there in the city streets of Nashville, Tennessee. It was right in the morning commute, too. Nashville just ground to a stop, and that was with less traffic than normal. Today, the snowiest day in Nashville in 13 years. 6.7 inches officially measured at the airport, and most of that in a few-hour stretch right at the beginning of the day. It is 1:30. I'm Mark Elliott.
And I'm Keith Carson. We're here with you all night to keep you updated on Winter Storm Jonas. We'll have another crew coming in after, all the way through the overnight hours. Let's go to our man, Jim Cantori, who is live in Washington, D.C. And an offbeat question for you here, Jim. Do you think that this storm has such high expectations, it might be hard to live up to them at this point?
I don't think so. I think it's going to deliver. I think everything that we saw since late last weekend is going to happen. And by the way, this is the worst weather we've had. I mean, we're really kicking in the winds now. Big time wind. Our visibilities are down. We're on the crosshairs of moderate to heavy snow. I've got
that's where I was
ruler over
all
here,
this afternoon.
5 inches on the ground. Over in through here. So we're at a solid 5 now in downtown D.C. The road crews have done a great job in keeping up with this, but remember, we haven't had the kind of snow intensities that we have now. So each time you tune with us, as we go on through the night tonight, the snow intensities are going to get worse. I can probably see about a quarter to a half mile down the road right now in terms of what we got. All right, I want to bring in my good buddy from NBC Sports, NHL analyst Ben Boma. It's interesting, Ben, because we were talking a lot about the football games and maybe getting the Cardinals into Charlotte. That seems to not be a problem. They didn't get the ice storm that they thought they were going to have, but hockey is going to be impacted big time, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately, you have a kind of a domino effect. You know, we're here, our crew's here. Most of us have gotten here to do the Penguins and the Capitals at 12:30 on Sunday. They were scheduled to do a game here, the Ducks and the Caps, Friday night. Right. Which started at 7 o'clock. It's moved to 5 o'clock. And about 3 hours before puck drop, they said, nope, we got to get these guys out of here. The reason they had to get them out of here is Anaheim's scheduled to play in Detroit tomorrow night. So if Anaheim's stuck here, you'd have another game canceled in Detroit, which would leave another kind of domino effect to the whole schedule.
So Pittsburgh still has to get to Washington.
Correct.
And they're going to come through the storm.
The biggest dynamic out of this is Penguins play a home game tomorrow at 12:30 against Vancouver. And, you know, as you've described to everybody, the majority of the storm is between here and Pittsburgh. Right. So how are they going to get here in time for 12:30 on Sunday? So right now the NHL is just kind of waiting to sort things out, make a decision hopefully tomorrow morning, and kind of let us know what's going on. In the meantime, enjoy a good meal, see you, my friend.
Because it's a ghost town right now in D.C.
Absolutely.
I mean, seriously, you've been here before. As a matter of fact, this is interesting.
Yep.
We go back to 2010, almost the same time.
Almost the same
we had
weekend.
Snowmageddon.
That's right. And almost the same
like
scenario. The Penguins were supposed to play the Capitals on that same Sunday. It was the Sunday, I think, either Super Bowl Sunday. We were all headed to the Olympics that night. Right. And the Penguins, I think, had to come in from New Jersey. And I think I did a phoner with you in the studio that night from just outside the Verizon Center in a situation just like this, describing, hey, it was a party scene. You know, people were kind of enjoying it and out in it. Right, and they weren't really as cautious as they were this time because of the severity of it. People were having fun and making the most of it.
Well, and I mean, the good news is that we got people off the road. So they can go have a good time if you want. Just don't stay off the road.
Stay warm and stay dry.
Thank you. We'll see what happens. We'll see what winds up again with the Capitals and certainly the Penguins coming up on Sunday. All right, time to pass the baton. In this case, it's going to be a yardstick. Mr. Seidel, keep on measuring.
Jim. Got the shovel. I shoveled a few walks, picked up a few dollars.
You're always shoveling.
You and the gang, you and the gang can have an extra glass of water on me.
See, that's awesome. So now, what do you think? I mean, we're just cranking up here.
It's just starting to get.
Put this down before I lose an eye here.
Yeah,
anyway.
That's true. But it's just starting to, kind of blow horizontally down Louisiana. And this is what we expected. Late tonight, the winds start to crank up.
I mean,
this
is coming. This is
off
amazing.
the Carolinas.
It's coming along exactly like we thought it would. If you stay with us tonight, because we're going to cover the storm till the end of time, because it's going to go on that long. Mike's conditions are only going to get worse. Right. The winds are going to pick up. The snow's going to get even heavier. Well, I mean, so we're just getting into this now. We're just starting this.
And by the time you get back here at 5 a.m. Eastern, it'll be certainly cranking out here.
Do you think you'll have the thunder and lightning before I get back here at 5 a.m.?
I hope I save it for you.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that.
Of course.
This guy is so thoughtful.
You're gonna have your thunder snow.
I appreciate that. I'll take it.
I'll take the lottery.
You know what? I actually rethought that after I said it. But anyway, that's another story. So, guys, again, when you think about the scope of this, we're talking about D.C. only because we're here. But really, by this kind of snow is what we're going to see up and down I-95 tomorrow morning. So we could be talking about a stretch of interstate, Mark and Keith, from New York City all the way down to D.C. that could be in crippling snow, zero visibility to a quarter visibility type snow. Nobody's going anywhere with that. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah. They should shut down the interstates.
Well, they should. I mean, you know what? Take a lesson from Deval Patrick in 2013, governor of Massachusetts. I mean, he shut it down, and they had 30 inches of snow with Nemo. You remember that? And literally in 24 hours, the city was back up and running. Well, I mean, what a great example of what to do in a storm. Take the lead and keep everybody off the roads because, after one night jackknife tractor trailer, then it's, okay, well, let's shut it down now. No, the damage is already done.
It'll be interesting to see, in hindsight, this time tomorrow, how the interstates are looking. 95, 66. New Jersey
we're still going to have the wind. We're still going to have the snow. I mean, you know, you see what Mike and I are standing in. Here's a yardstick next to me. I mean, this is the kind of snow we're expecting, or even 3/4 of this for most of these areas, right up I-95.
And we're going to more to double or triple the wind gust right now.
Exactly.
So there you go.
I'm telling you, this is like a vacation in Miami compared to what we're going to deal with by about 5 o'clock in the morning.
So,
or
Jim,
maybe not quite the vacation.
Go get a good meal and a nap.
Thanks.
We'll see you out here 5 a.m.
All right.
Jim, as you're
guys, think about it. 2 old guys out here, what about 30 years live experience?
Easily.
The 2 of us?
Easily.
Easily. 30 years live experience.
I've got 20.
All right.
There you go.
All right, this will be a good one. Guys, back to you. Historic snow in D.C. It's coming.
This is a great bromance.
Yeah,
Mark, you have a question?
I did. I have a question for you. I don't know if they can hear us with all the snow going on. Jim,
so I can't hear you guys because my battery's dead.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
All right, well.
Go figure. You work 5-6 hours out here.
You need a new battery.
I need a new battery. I need to go get my batteries recharged. I'm going to go
there you go.
Can Seidel hear us?
All right, Mike.
News channel look live real quick?
Nope. We're done with them. They can't hear us. There's a lot of snow there, though.
I thought they were so entranced in their bromance that they weren't hearing your question.
I thought they were just ignoring me on purpose.
No,
but
well, I feel better about that now.
Yeah,
all right, let's talk about the storm.
You know, there's still a lot of winter weather to come, as Jim was just talking about. If you were watching along for the past couple hours with Jim, you could see all the way across the street for about a mile just an hour ago. Now you could barely see across the street, and that's the kind of conditions that we're expecting up and down 95, up and down 81. There's still a lot of snow to come tonight.
Now, this is kind of anecdotally. Doesn't seem like the biggest snowstorms. A lot of the heavy stuff happens during the overnight hours. I always remember as a kid waking up, and that's this kind of storm as well, where you're going to wake up.
Coldest part of the night, so that helps out, and then you get all these dynamics. The low-level jet kicks in a little bit, so those extra winds off the ocean bring even more moisture in. It's all coming together now.
It's magical to wake up to that. Let's take a look at Winter Storm Jonas. By the numbers here, 81 million people are under winter weather alerts across 23 states.
31 million of those people under blizzard warnings, and then 10 states in the District of Columbia under a state of emergency.
Yeah, Governor Chris Christie's out in New Jersey. Just the last hour, we had him on live here. 146,000 customers are without power in 12 states, and it's pretty early still.
Yeah, I think that number's going to significantly climb through the night. When you have scenes like this through Virginia and Harrisonburg, get ready. More snow going north.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees with light snow. Tonight, snow, low 18. Chance of snow, 70%. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Saturday, snow showers, high 24. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Here's our 7-day outlook.
All right, welcome back. We continue our coverage of Winter Storm Jonas. We have another threat to talk about. That's some coastal storm surge.
Yeah, Reagan Medji is in Stone Harbor, New Jersey tonight, where the wave action and even some surge are both going to be at play, not to mention the snow. Reagan, bring us up to speed on what people along the Jersey Shore are dealing with tonight.
Well, they're dealing with what exactly all the viewers are watching right now. It's just a lot of wind. And, of course, Winter Storm Jonas is growing in strength with the wind and, of course, the snowfall. The snow is on diagonal. The snow that you see is really a fluffy kind of snow. What they're most concerned about here is the flooding and quite possibly power outages because of the high winds that we're expecting. Tonight, we're staying at a hotel called The Reeds at Shelter Haven. I'm joined by Casey Erdman, who is the bartender here. So, interestingly enough, you know, we talked about people who are preparing for the storm. How are you preparing tonight?
Well, tonight, me and the other bartender, Joe, are staying here at the Reeds overnight. We were serving food. However, we had to shut down the restaurant because a lot of our employees are from, like, the Atlanta County area.
That's north of here.
Yes, it's going to get hit pretty hard. And talking to managers and other employees, the expressway was completely white out. So it was a good idea to just send them home early and make sure that they got home safe. And, you know, there's nobody here out, obviously, right now. It's a ghost town. So, you know. But the bar is open. So.
Now, you also, you've been here your whole entire life here at Stone Harbor. When you see this winter storm like this, you know, you watch on the Weather Channel, we see in the bar, in the restaurant, and you see that all of this preparation is being taken into consideration, taking place. Does that concern you at all?
Not necessarily. I think a hype is always built up as far as the snowstorms go. I mean, I've lived here for my entire life, and we get so hyped out, and then, you know, we get an inch of snow and everybody loses their mind. Outside of that, though, I mean, staying here, I feel safe. I don't have to drive home. I can come right back in tomorrow. But, you know, as long as the snow trucks are out and, you know, everybody stays safe, you know, not too concerned.
And even, now this is my last question, but, you know, this area is kind of, this area we're at right now, ground zero for flooding.
Yes.
And now the ocean's that way, but the bay is over that way.
The bay is what you want to worry about. Like, the dunes are, you know, somewhat of a protection, somewhat of a barrier, but right outside here at the Water Star Grill, the water rises and it can come right in. But we did put up flood walls down around the base of the building, so, you know, floods aren't really going to concern us tonight.
And also, if God forbid, and, you know, we talked about you're going to see plows behind Casey soon, but God forbid the power goes out. You guys are okay here at the Reeds.
We are. We have a generator that we just invested in, and within 5 seconds of a power outage, it would kick right on. It's natural gas generated, so you wouldn't have to worry about electrical, but, you know, power's on, and, you know, the drinks are ready. So.
And, of course, Casey, she's here willing and ready to make sure that your internal organs are warmed up.
I stocked up on all the wine, so everybody's nice and warm.
You have to have some humor at the end of this, but of course this is a very, very big serious issue. We don't want to be too humorous about it, but if, you know, you're going to be, I know that I got to wrap, but, you know, if you're going to be watching the Weather Channel all night, it's a good thing because we're going to keep you up to date. You don't want to go out and be a bystander. You want to be sightseeing. You want to stay indoors. People are, you know, the employees are staying in where they work because they can't get home because it's just too dangerous outside on the roadways. You can see that there's a plow right near me. I mean, this is what's happened. They're going to pick up the snow, but underneath that snow, it is slippery, and not to mention Winter Storm Jonas still ramping up. So back to you guys in the studio.
And Reagan, don't forget, it is indeed a myth that whiskey will warm you up. So be careful after your live hits end. You don't want to go drinking too much in the snowfall, that's for sure. But the coastal impact's a real part of this story, right? We've got this deepening low pressure high to the north that we like to call the banana high, right? It arcs all the way around, funnels that cold air through. So the combination is really going to point the winds directly towards the coastline, including Ocean City, Maryland, up through Atlantic City. Those winds will be pushing that water forward as well. So the high tide cycle tomorrow morning at around 7 o'clock for the Jersey Shore, then tomorrow afternoon again about the same time, and then even Sunday morning we could have real impacts with the push of water. There are coastal flood advisories up and down the shore tonight. We'll be right back.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees with light snow. Tonight, snow, low 18. Chance of snow, 70%. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Saturday, snow showers, high 24. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Here's our 7-day outlook.
We got ourselves some snow in Manhattan right now. If you look very closely and you have a good TV, you will see that snow falling in downtown New York.
But you don't have to take the Tower Cam's word for it. We've got someone on the ground. Harry Chickma live at 30 Rock in Midtown Manhattan for us tonight. And the flakes are indeed flying now, huh, Harry?
Well, good evening, Keith and Mark. That is right. The flakes have just begun falling here in Manhattan, in the heart of New York City, at Rockefeller Center and NBC headquarters. Although the people are still having fun, you can see in back of me, just kind of moseying around the city, and also a better look here at the the beautiful ice skating rink at Rockefeller Center, a perfect winter wonderland, but that's not going to be the case in a couple hours because give it about 1, 2, or maybe 3 hours, and we're going to get very heavy snow, snow that's definitely going to affect the walkways, the streets, the sidewalks, and of course it will be continuing throughout all of tomorrow into the evening. Definitely major problems. I actually had a flight scheduled for Sunday. That flight has been canceled already. The airlines have already called me, so major transportation problems throughout the tri-state area. People bracing for the worst here in New York, but right now the snow just beginning to fall. It's actually picked up in the last couple minutes, and I anticipate it will be pretty bad by the end of our 11 p.m. broadcast here at 30 Rock. So I'd say 20 minutes ago there was no snow. Now it's coming down. People still having a fun time, but I strongly recommend going inside in the next hour or so because it will definitely be picking up here in Manhattan.
Harry, you know, obviously Washington, D.C. very aware of this big snowstorm. What do people in New York seem to think of it? Are they taking this storm seriously, or they're saying it's falling on a weekend, so it's no big deal?
Well, actually, people are taking it very seriously here in New York. It's the first big snowstorm of the year, and the few people that I spoke to, they're actually relieved, some of them, to know that there is some snow coming. And we really haven't had anything in New York, nothing major. But this one, people are expecting it to be a big one. We're seeing what's going on in Washington and the southern states. So they're not taking it lightly here in New York, bracing for the worst and ready for quite a big storm here.
All right, Harry Chickma, thanks for the update, and enjoy the snow. Stay safe, but try to enjoy it. I mean, you know, that's the dichotomy of these winter storms. Really serious situations, but if you can watch them from inside a safe environment,
if you can hunker
generally
down.
okay.
I got a little seasick.
Yeah, there was a lot of movement there.
A little quease there. Thank you, Harry. All right, let's show you some of these blizzard warnings in effect.
Yeah, you know, we continue to follow this entire area with the anywhere you see in pink, those are blizzard warnings that are in play. Right up to New York City, across Long Island, we've got blizzard warnings that continue. Remember, blizzard warning, nothing to do with the amount of snowfall, but that will also be impressive.
Usually, it doesn't have to go hand in hand. It often does. Look at this jackpot, though.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where they're having all the fun. But I think New York will be interesting because, you know, as of last night, some of the computer models gave them almost nothing. Then they went back north tonight into double digits. So I think that'll be an interesting forecast.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that northern edge is something that we've been kind of analyzing throughout the extent of this storm. But now that the snow has gotten to New York, it's starting to really moisten up. It looks more likely now that we will see that snow go north of the city and give you some of those big-time bands and that big accumulation.
So now it's Boston and Providence, right? Like, they're right on the line. I think Boston probably not much. Providence could see some, but you're right. The fact that New York's already snowing, it probably bodes well if you like snow, or poorly if you don't like snow.
And then the wind factor for all of these cities is a really big deal. We've got high wind warnings up the Chesapeake, even towards Baltimore. Then, of course, the eastern shore, southern Jersey, we've got those high wind warnings in play. Gusts 50 to 60 miles per hour at times. That's enough to knock out power on its own, and then you add the weight of snow on top of that.
And this is where the term nor'easter comes from. The winds will be out of the north and east for the most part, right on shore. This is what you were just talking about. A lot of people have a misnomer with a blizzard that it means a lot of snow. You could get a ½ inch of snow and have a blizzard.
Absolutely. You could have a ground blizzard with no snow falling, because it's all about winds of 35 miles per hour for 3 hours or more, and that bringing down the visibility to a quarter mile or less. So once that happens for 3 hours straight, you got a blizzard on your hands.
All right, let's take out to D.C. Thumping snow there right now.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees with light snow. Tonight, snow, low 18. Chance of snow, 70%. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Saturday, snow showers, high 24. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Here's our 7-day outlook.
You know, we've been watching the snowflakes going ever further north. Now, the wide view of New York City from the top of the rock looking out over the city. That is not fuzz on your screen. That is snow that's starting to limit the visibility. Look at kind of the spotlight in the distance there. You can feel the snowflakes going past the lights.
When I was a kid, I used to look at streetlights.
Absolutely, we all did.
First, and I would imagine it started snowing before it actually started snowing. That's how we ended up here at the Weather Channel. Many years later.
But this one's real.
This is real.
There's no imaginary snowflakes in this one.
It's not just New York, by the way. Let's go down into Kentucky. This is this afternoon. Not a ton of cars on the road, but going very slowly there. This isn't just a northern and mid-Atlantic storm. It's a southern storm as well. And we are staying live around the clock to cover Winter Storm Jonas. Thanks for joining us here tonight. I'm Keith Carson.
And I'm Mark Elliott. You know, we are well into the middle of this storm. We're going to keep you updated on the latest model runs throughout the night. Any changes to our predicted snow totals, impacts, we'll bring you that information right here. You're going to know about it from us, from the Weather Channel as it happens.
Let's take a look at the latest snow projections, actually. And, you know, I kind of have this theory, Mark, and you probably the same way. When you get this close, I'm going down with the ship. I'm not going to change the map. I think this looks good still now. Heavy snowfall totals in the right places. Really no reason to adjust.
If you change your forecast at this point, you're wrong both times because you've changed it too late. So this is, it's locked in now. What your color is in your town on the map, we're pretty confident that that's what you're going to see, especially considering that we've had verification already. Over a foot all the way down into West Virginia, into Kentucky over a foot now. Asheville, North Carolina above 10 inches of snow, and this is just the beginning of a big-time storm.
Yeah, those are some pretty big totals considering how early in the storm it is. Let's go to our man on the ground, Jim Cantori, taking a little cat nap, so we will take it now to Mike Seidel, who I think is standing in what has been the best snow so far in D.C. today.
Yeah, this is the heaviest snow we've seen so far. Well, it is moderate snow, guys, a half mile. I measured the distance using Google from our location to the Capitol Dome, the top. It's about 1,900 feet. That's about a third of a mile. I can make out the dome barely, so we're down to about a third of a mile. Officially, about a half a mile at the airports. Winds have gusted at Reagan National to 28 miles an hour, and it is a ghost town out here around the Capitol. There is just a few cars around, some of the Capitol Police vehicles, and the plows. But you can start to see the snow blowing down Louisiana Avenue. This is a very dry, powdery snow. Temperatures are in the low 20s, and this is going to be the real concern when we get those heavier snowfall rates and the winds cranking up, gusting now 28 to 30. They're going to be gusting 40 to 50 overnight tonight into Saturday. We're going to get incredible blowing and drifting of the snow, especially in outlying areas. That's one threat. Also, check the radar right now. We've got some very heavy bands coming up from southern Maryland, down around Leonardtown, St. Mary's County, Calvert County. These are going to come up, clip the east side of D.C., PG County, and also over towards Annapolis. These areas off to the east, and then maybe up to Washington, or rather up to Baltimore, could see snowfall rates as much as 1, even 2 inches an hour. That's over the next couple of hours. So right now, we're out here on Louisiana Avenue. Boy, as far as the eye can see, no vehicles, just snow and blowing snow, and this is going to be the trend all night long. It's only going to get worse as we look for at least 20 inches of snow here in Washington. If we get that, it will be the second biggest storm on record. It goes back to 1922, so we're talking 94 years ago. Mark
and Mike
and Keith, we're going to be out here through the duration.
When these snowfall rates really ramp up tonight, what do you tell us about what you think these snowfall rates are going to go to?
Well, I think we could get to 2 inches an hour with the banding. Also, tomorrow, midday, early afternoon, as the northwest wind, we get the wraparound on the backside, we're going to get another burst of heavy snowfall, along with the higher winds. So the key here is the wind speed, the wind gust, and the snowfall rates. Right now, the plows can keep up with this kind of snowfall rate, but that may not be the case, certainly, as we get into later tonight and right on through Saturday. By tomorrow evening, the snowfall rate backs down and the winds will begin to subside. And as we've been saying all along, Sunday looks like a good day to dig out with the sun coming back out and temperatures edging above freezing. But this is a long duration event. Many snowstorms last 8 or 10 hours. The meat of the storm, this is going from late mid-afternoon today till tomorrow night. So we're talking a good 36 hours of snowfall here in the mid-Atlantic.
All right, thank you. Mike Seidel will be there for the vast majority of this long-duration snowstorm. Thanks for that report. Let's take a look at what's going on right now as far as the radar. And you mentioned the banding. You can see the deeper colors there in blue.
Yeah, those are the kind of the mesoscale features that are really hard to nail down days in advance. But now it's more of a nowcasting feature. You see those lighter bands really pushing into the area, and that is where you're going to see the intense snowfall rates. And we can use the kind of the small scale models, the high resolution models, to show you where those banding features set up through the night.
And by the way, it's not all about DC, right? Baltimore going to get hit hard. Philadelphia, don't sleep on Philadelphia. They could get 20 inches of snow out of this storm. So we're showing you DC a lot because we currently have a crew on the ground there. It's not just a storm for them. New York also snowing already.
Yeah, you know, by Saturday morning, you notice the deep blues go right over the Big Apple. So we're not only talking about DC, but also Philly, New York, up through Long Island, just terrible, terrible travel conditions along Long Island Expressway. If you don't have to go anywhere, don't even think about it, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. And you know, it's interesting. I think this is the RPM, I would imagine, right? The RPM has been consistently a little farther north than other models with the snow shield. So when you're seeing this, you know, it hits Boston pretty good. We don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, but then again, Boston gets like a band and then it pulls away, which is in line with what we've been saying.
Yeah.
That said, it is already snowing in New York City, so some of that is starting to make it so that it's not completely out of the question.
By the way, by Sunday afternoon, as Mike mentioned, not only cleared out, maybe a little bit of sun.
Yeah, so, which will help, it goes a long way after an event like this. When you're talking close to 20 inches in Philadelphia, northern suburbs, 20 to 25 inches, not out of the question for Philly. The south side, start getting a little bit of mixing maybe down towards southern Jersey, and you still get close to a foot. That's how you know this is a big time storm.
That's a good point, actually. And through Delaware, 15, 16 inches of snow. Maryland as well. Crab cakes, football, snow.
Absolutely.
That's what Maryland does.
You know what? Let's take a look at Winter Storm Jonas by the numbers. So far, 81 million people under winter weather alerts across 23 states.
Yeah, 31 million of those people are under blizzard warnings, and 10 states in the District of Columbia are under a state of emergency.
Yeah, Chris Christie and my old stomping grounds in New Jersey added New Jersey to the states of emergency, and the power outages numbers still going up.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees with light snow. Tonight, snow, low 18. Chance of snow, 70%. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Saturday, snow showers, high 24. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Saturday night, clear to partly cloudy. A few flurries or snow showers possible. Low 13. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Welcome back, everyone. What we're looking at here is Center City. We're looking towards the heart of Philadelphia. Believe it or not, it's down there, through the clouds, through the snow. Snow has that great characteristic of reflecting all the lights and really lowering the visibility considerably. So that's a good proxy for the snowfall rates, and it's really picking up in Philadelphia right now. Of course, we've been hanging out in the lab tonight because we've got an active winter storm, and now we've got winter weather expert Tom Nizzle. Tom, this storm's really just getting going.
Oh, yeah. You know, I'm equating it. It's a winter storm. So for sporting events, it's the first period of the hockey game.
All right.
Okay, we've got 3 full periods to go through here. One of the things I wanted to show you is just the look at this storm from outer space. And I know it's an intense storm, but I want to push this forward, and it shows the lights of the urban areas of the United States, and through the thicker clouds here associated with the storm, and that is a storm system there. This tremendous plume of moisture now coming in off the Atlantic.
It reaches all the way down to the tropics.
It actually has a subtropical connection there, and it is pasting the mid-Atlantic right now with snow. And in fact, we talked about this already this evening. Blizzard warnings in effect, but look at the area it covers, Mark. This is really amazing. I haven't seen this in a number of years.
It's so impressive to me, not only the wind and the visibility factor, but that the low-end areas that mix in with other types of precipitation could still get 10 to 12 inches of snow.
It is mega numbers we're talking about. And again, we've been so consistent with this snowfall forecast. Look at that area in pink there, 18 to 24 inches of snow, again, covering a very wide area. And now you combine that snow with the type of winds. Now, we've had wind gusts of 35 to 40 in Washington, D.C. area already. Take a look as we go through the wee hours of the morning. You get up tomorrow morning along coastal areas here, you could be gusting 50, 60 miles an hour.
Can you imagine what that's like in the urban canyon through New York, in between the skyscrapers, or even aloft in those skyscrapers? I mean, you're going to be feeling this blizzard coming through your town tonight.
And your visibility is only going to be down to maybe 100 feet or so at times, so travel is going to be greatly restricted here. It is a good idea just to hunker down and stay home and enjoy this from the comfort of home. And again, even getting into later Saturday afternoon and evening, these strong winds are going to continue across this area. It's not until overnight Saturday into Sunday when we finally see it lose its grip.
And the winds go offshore. That pushes the water back away. You lose all the coastal flooding concerns at that point, but we have to get to Sunday morning or even Sunday afternoon to get there.
A long way to go. This is a big game we're playing here, and you can see the spin in the atmosphere here. One other little tidbit. It is so cold in the south, right? Down into the 30s. We're getting reports of snow all the way down near Destin, Florida.
That is great.
How do you like that?
Unbelievable. Okay. Not exactly the beach vacation that some of you are hoping for, I'm sure.
But where it really is coming in now is this tremendous plume of moisture coming up across D.C. and into Philadelphia. New York starting to snow. And boy, remember we took a look a little earlier as well at this. Look at the banded precipitation working its way in here. That is a really good example of really deep lift in the atmosphere, a lot of convection. I wouldn't be surprised to see a little thunder snow developing out of this.
We will have to turn your lightning detector on in that map and turn them yellow or something so we can see that happen through the rest of the night.
Because we may be able to pick that up. This is the winds and the cloud level, and as we go through the night and into tomorrow, the strongest winds right across here, and that wind coming off the ocean is going to bring that plume of moisture. It matches up perfectly with where we expect the greatest snowfall. So it's an extended period of heavy snow for about an 18 to 24-hour period of time over this area. That is the main reason we're seeing what we're seeing.
And those small-scale features that we knew were coming, now it's nowcasting. Now with the high-resolution modeling, we can show you where they set up and when it's going to be snowing the heaviest.
And we play it out. That plume really just kind of rotates in here. You see as we go forward in time, coming in off the ocean there, the wind directions change, but this just stays under that snow cover for that extended period, and that's why we're seeing those kind of totals.
Another full day or day and a half still to come. Stay with us. We're covering it. Keith, over to you.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Let's take you now to Atlanta, Georgia, where it is snowing a little bit there as well. Half the Weather Channel has hotel rooms just a few blocks away for that very reason. Not expecting much here, but up to an inch in the deep south can cause some problems. We'll be right back.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees with light snow. Tonight, snow, low 18. Chance of snow, 70%. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Saturday, snow showers, high 24. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Saturday night, clear to partly cloudy. A few flurries or snow showers possible. Low 13. Here's our 7-day outlook.
The work week is over. You know, if the smartest thing for you all to do on Saturday afternoon would be stay home, stay where you are. Hopefully tonight, by the time you're seeing this, you will have gotten all the essentials from the supermarket and elsewhere. Hopefully you're prepared for any emergency matters, like with flashlights and your generators and all the rest. If you do that, you should be in good shape tomorrow.
Meanwhile, tonight, nearly 90 million people feeling the effects of Winter Storm Jonas, and we've got a long way to go right on through the weekend.
Yeah, we sure do. NBC's Miguel Almaguer takes a look at the impacts thus far.
Tonight, this deadly winter wallop is showing little mercy. Blinding snow, paralyzing ice, Widespread power outages crippling 20 states. Nashville, Tennessee going nowhere fast. More than 200 collisions in 6 hours, only getting worse. With 1 in every 4 Americans facing this brutal blast, it's a whiteout in Kentucky, and for many, a blackout at home. Tens of thousands in a deep freeze without electricity or heat. With trees crashing into homes, cars are sliding into each other. Freeways a standstill, others a ghost town. It's a state of emergency in Washington, D.C. Inside the war room, calls for help have doubled. The blizzard could be catastrophic.
We haven't seen a storm like this in the district in 90 years.
Pro basketball and hockey games postponed. The National Guard loading Humvees, first responders ready to roll.
Road conditions is a big concern for us, making sure that we can actually get to the scene.
With gas pumps empty, store shelves are bare.
We've gone grocery shopping like 3 times, so.
Tonight, this monster storm, 1,000 miles wide, is bringing travel to a standstill. In Chicago, a plane skidded off an icy runway. Thousands of canceled flights. Tonight, New York is bracing. Philly expecting more than a foot of snow. D.C., 2.
Strong winds will lead to near zero visibility and cause trees to fall on overhead power lines.
Governor Christie off the campaign trail, now returning home.
Hate to be the bearer of bad news.
Mandatory evacuations tonight along the Jersey Shore, still reeling from Superstorm Sandy, now facing severe flooding and beach erosion.
Nobody wants to be in waist-deep, freezing cold water in the middle of, 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts and blizzard whiteout conditions.
Another relentless punch.
D.C. could remain in the bullseye for several hours. They say the conditions that could possibly develop could be life-threatening. We should begin to start digging out here on Sunday. The big question, what will happen between now and then? Back to you.
Yeah, well, we'll answer some of that big question here by taking a look at what's going on right now on the radar picture. You can see the storm is well developed, pretty much right on cue. You know, you think back about this storm system, and it's pretty amazing how all the models were locked into this about a week out. Even some of our more awful computer models, like the Canadian model, had this storm exactly like this at this time. Snow starting to move now into New York City. You know, the northern fringe of this storm, the biggest concern as far as forecasting it, but already saturated the air column here and snowing from New York down into Jersey, certainly snowing in Philadelphia. That probably bodes well for snowfall totals in New York City. Huge jump on the radar down into Atlanta, where at the Weather Channel here we have some snow across Atlanta. There's winter weather advisories. Good news, a lot of people left work early or did not go at all, so there aren't many people on the roads. Here's the only rain we're really seeing. You know, there's not much of a rain-snow line with the storm so big and so far-reaching. It's across the Outer Banks. Maybe some of this will get into the Delmarva, but for the most part, the big cities will stay all snow here. We did have some ice this morning. It wasn't as bad as we might have thought in places in North Carolina, Charlotte, Greenville here in through South Carolina as well. Temperatures still in the 20s, but the good news is they didn't see as much ice accretion. There will still be a chance for ice here, but I think a lot of this will be pretty clean transition as that warmer air comes in, colder air staying at the surface, but we should see mainly snow. In most areas, of course, the amount of snow will be the problem. We'll be right back.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees with light snow. Tonight, snow, low 18. Chance of snow, 70%. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Saturday, snow showers, high 24. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Saturday night, clear to partly cloudy. A few flurries or snow showers possible. Low 13. Here's our 7-day outlook.
I think people need to take this very seriously and recognize that this is the real thing.
This is no normal winter storm.
It should not be taken lightly.
We can expect heavy snow, strong winds, and whiteout conditions. Literally meaning the driver cannot see what's happening in front of them.
Don't go out until it's really safe to go out.
Get what you need done today. Stay off the roads.
All right, Winter Storm Jonas has kicked into high gear. Check out the time lapse in Richmond, Kentucky today. Kentucky actually getting it pretty good as well. One of the spots is going to see some pretty decent snow.
You can still see the cars going by, but they're few and far between. I think a lot of people just camped out and waited for this one to go by, which was probably a pretty good idea. Over 17 inches of snow in portions of Kentucky today. That's a big-time storm for Kentucky, and then into Tennessee we had similar impacts as well. It's 1:30. I'm Mark Elliott.
And I'm Keith Carson. We're here with you all night. Well, not just us. We've got another team after us as well that will keep you updated on Winter Storm Jonas, and we want to get you on the ground, show you what it's like.
Yeah, Mike Seidel is in D.C., but just one of many areas up and down I-95 that's getting pasted with snow tonight, Mike. This is a big-time storm.
Yeah, right now you can see a plow going between me and the camera, cleaning off the next inch of snowfall. Let's measure it out here on the edge of the Capitol on the northeast side. I can barely make out the Rotunda Dome, so we're down about a half a mile or less. The snow blowing sideways now. These gusts 20 to 25 miles an hour. There goes another plow going right by us up the Louisiana area up towards D Street. So they're out here trying to stay up with the snowfall rate. I'll put the old yardstick in the snow. Yeah, it looks like about 5.5, not quite 6 inches of snow. It's going to be tough to measure because it's going to be blowing and adding up very quickly. As far as around the area, Staunton, out in Staunton, hello there, Dumfries, both at 7.5 inches. Arlington, nearby Arlington, just across the Potomac with 6 inches. And out in western Maryland, in Allegheny County, we got an 8-inch report from the western port area. So up to 8 inches here out in western Maryland. I don't know if you can see it on a wide shot, but the snow is now blowing down the street. We've got enough wind now, gusts 25 to 30 miles an hour. Temperatures in the low 20s, and boy, the capital area, D.C., is a virtual ghost town. Everybody is staying put, sitting tight. This is exactly what everybody wanted you to do, all the officials, just to stay off the roadways. I think the real concern now will be what happens to the interstates around the mid-Atlantic, because none of them have been officially shut down, but you jackknife some tractor trailers and you end up with a situation we've seen time and time again. Now we're getting some banding coming up from the south. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center, typically giving us updates on severe weather, putting out a meso discussion talking about snowfall rates the next couple of hours. Baltimore, D.C., Philadelphia, 1, maybe 2 inches an hour. Some of that could be convective, so we could see some thunder snow in the area. It's only going to get worse. We still got a long way to go. These winds are going to more than double with gusts. We could get gusts 45 to 50 miles an hour, especially as you go on the east side of Washington towards the bay. Down on the eastern shore, we're going to see a change over to rain, Salisbury, the beaches. And then when we get the backwash tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, we'll see the snow, the rain go back to snow over there on the lower eastern shore. But up here, it's all snow, and it's powdery snow, and it is going to add up very, very fast. So that's the situation here. The blizzard warning, by the way, continues now through 6 a.m. Sunday morning. It's not going to snow that long, but it certainly is going to be blowing around. So remember, with a blizzard, you don't have to have snow falling from the sky. You can have what they call ground blizzards. Mark and Keith, early stages here on the Capitol grounds. 23 degrees right now. The wind chill now just below 10 degrees here in D.C. But considering what I went through in Minnesota, I can handle this.
Yeah.
After that 30 below wind chill and 10 below on the thermometer, it really is. It's not the temperature. It's not gonna bother me. It's really just the horizontal snow that tends to get you.
Mike, you've been through a lot of these different storms, and how unusual is it for D.C. to not really be too concerned with the rain-snow line?
You know, that's a good question, because I grew up down on the eastern shore by the water, and it was always snow to rain to snow. We always looked at the weather reports from D.C. and Baltimore back in the 60s and 70s, and we're like, oh my gosh, they're getting all the snow. In fact, I can tell you, in junior and senior high school, I didn't have one snow day. So that puts it in perspective. But yeah, many times the rain-snow line will back right in from the southeast. This time around, we have enough cold air that rain-snow line is not going to get in here. Now, as you get towards the bay, there may be some sleet mixing in early on Saturday morning, but that won't last very long because as that storm goes by, that is going to wrap back the cold air and change everything back over. Everything will collapse and change back over to snow, including down on the eastern shore where it's going to go over to rain overnight. And the beaches, boy, they're going to get battered. We're talking about a lot of beach erosion and coastal flooding down there. The Jersey, Maryland, and Delaware beaches.
And Mike, you mentioned that SPC statement about the banding features and the big-time snow rates on the way for the rest of the night. Paint the picture for places like Philly, which is now getting into bigger snow, or New York, where it's just beginning. I mean, you watch this come into D.C. What will they see happen over the next several hours?
Yeah, the same kind of deal, riding right up the coast. Here's your radar right now. A little bit of a dry area down towards Richmond. But look at those darker areas off to the south and east of Washington. That's down around southern Maryland, Calvert County, coming up from the northern neck of Virginia. And you can see on the bottom right side of your screen, see that rain-snow line? If you widen out a little bit, you can see the rain-snow line now edging up towards the Salisbury area. There you go. There's that warm air now up into Accomack, Northampton County. It's raining and chilly in mid to upper 30s in Norfolk, Virginia Beach. So you get an idea of how that warm air is pushing up through the lower bay. But we don't think it's going to wrap all the way back to D.C. and Baltimore. That seems highly unlikely. But again, that is going to lower the accumulations in parts of the eastern shore of Maryland, Delaware, and Virginia. And there's the whole swath. But the snow now picking up in intensity as the banding comes right up through southern Maryland into D.C. So as the SPC said, maybe as much as 2 inches an hour. And that's just in the next few hours. It's going to snow right on through the day on Saturday.
All right, Mike, thank you for that report. And yeah, it's going to get pretty nasty.
There's another plow right here. Here comes another plow. How's it going out there? Hold on. Let me talk to this guy. How are the roads out there tonight?
Yeah, we trying to get down as much as possible.
Trying to get back down as much as possible. Yeah. Well, you're able to keep up with the snowfall rate at this point, right? Sort of. Yeah. And what's your shift like?
12 hours.
12 hours. What's your name? Johnny. Well, thanks for stopping. We appreciate your hard work. Have a good night out here. There you go. Johnny doing a great job out here around the Capitol. Mark?
Yeah.
And Keith, back to you.
Mike, thanks so much. You know, those guys, they're doing like Saints work tonight, right?
It's the
12-hour shift through the peak of the snowfall rates. That's a tough job. The DOTs from D.C. to Philly to even New York City Sanitation Department, they've got their work cut out.
And it ends up being more than 12 a lot of times if it gets bad.
Yeah.
Here are your blizzard warnings. You know, we want to talk a little bit about down here as well because all of Virginia going to get hit hard. And this is a bit of a southern storm. Nashville got a lot of snow as well.
Yeah, the I-81 corridor, for a long time we were talking about that being the real focal point. And the Virginia DOT says they don't close down roads. They just try to send as many resources as they can down the highway.
Yeah.
So it's one of those
it's great if you can
calls,
do it.
You know?
It's great if you can do it. Philadelphia, another spot that's going to get hit hard. New York already starting to see some snow, which was a little bit ahead of schedule, so could bode well for them.
Yeah, but you see that heavy snow has moved north into much of Pennsylvania, all of New Jersey. We've been getting new video into us here all through the day. Here's the newest one from Harrisonburg, Virginia. That snow really picking up right now.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees under cloudy skies. Tonight, snow, low 18. Chance of snow, 70%. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Saturday, snow showers, high 24. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Saturday night, clear to partly cloudy. A few flurries or snow showers possible. Low 13. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Cars cars and trucks slipping and sliding around Music City earlier. This, one of the hills, which Nashville has a few of these, having a tough time there. Another part of Nashville, drivers were helping other drivers get up the icy inclines. Treacherous driving conditions expected to continue for those in the Mid-South. By the way, Mark, this is actually why I think Southerners, for the most part, not as effective at snow driving. They're too nice. They'll get out.
Yeah.
They get out and push people. When I lived in Boston,
and then they need help. You can't stop on the hills, no matter what. You don't stop on the hill. Red light,
right?
Nope, keep going.
When you're in Boston,
you hump
you're like,
and you hope.
You're like, I should get a different car next year, bro. All right, you know.
Yeah. Tom Nizzle knows all about that. He does.
Yeah.
The snow driving, he's well versed.
You do not stop, especially if there's any type of incline.
Yeah.
You have to keep going.
If someone's injured, fine. If they're just stuck, that's better luck next year.
It's a wave, and
Good luck. Good luck to you. Good luck to you, sir.
Son, you're on your own.
In any case, there might be several areas with cars that have trouble driving for the next 24 hours. Let's bring everyone up to date on this storm.
Oh, man. I mean, you know, we're just in the beginnings of this storm in the Mid-Atlantic and going up toward New York City right now. And you can see this big spin in the atmosphere on the water vapor imagery. There's the upper level low. There is a surface low that is developing very rapidly on the coast here. And as we get into the next 12 hours, it's going to bring a tremendous amount of moisture in off the Atlantic Ocean back across the Mid-Atlantic region, really ramp up the snowfall. Now, back under the upper low, it's still snowing. In fact, we're getting a little bit of snow coming down through even Atlanta right now. Raleigh, you're finally getting out of the mixed precipitation here. Pretty much you're not going to have too much more other than some scattered snow showers. But it's east of here. We've got this tremendous plume of moisture that is now coming up right along the coast here. This is intensifying very rapidly. Our Storm Prediction Center has sent out a discussion regarding the banding of the snow. We've been talking about this. I'm going to zoom in on this and take a look at how these narrow bands of snowfall are working their way northward across Washington, across Baltimore right now. I would not be surprised in the next couple hours to begin to see some thunder snow. Snowfall rates probably increasing to 2 inches an hour in this region now as we go into the overnight. And that also is with winds picking up, gusting over 35 at times. We had a report just off Virginia Beach of winds gusting to 54 miles an hour just about a half hour ago. And I would not be surprised to see those kind of winds begin to work their way up the coast and inland. Now, the winds a little higher aloft in the cloud layer, right here in the darker red, are over 60 miles an hour, and that's associated with bringing all that moisture up into this part of the world. Watch how, as we go forward in time overnight tonight and into Saturday, how this plume of strong winds comes off the Atlantic here. And if I leave that on there, it is not surprising, and it is not a coincidence that this is where our heavy snow will be. And so you see that set up across this area. This is going to continue for another 12 to 18 hours, a very long-lived event. And with winds gusting over 40 miles an hour at times, it brings the blizzard conditions across Washington into Philadelphia and up to New York, starting to snow in New York City. It will continue to snow throughout the night. And literally, this area stays in here as the band of precipitation kind of pivots off the Atlantic Ocean as that low moves northward here. So we continue to see snow even into the evening hours of Saturday before gradually this system works its way off the coast of the U.S. If we take a quick look here at places like the Philadelphia area, you can see the heaviest snow right across this region right here. As you get south and east of there down near Cape May, the snowfall drops off. I talk drop off in a relative sense, down to only about 10 inches of snow instead of 22 to 23. Up in New York City, very, very critical forecast now. Look at our numbers here. Our forecast has gone up a little bit. Once again, we're looking at anywhere from 14 to 17 inches of snow in the city itself, and then it rapidly drops off to the north of there. This is one area I'm really concerned about, the city and Long Island. The combination of snow and winds tomorrow. Stay home, play it safe. Send it back to you guys.
And Tom, how about this? You were talking about the snow potentially at least piling up for New York City.
Yeah.
It has arrived. Look at this. This is the top of the Statue of Liberty at the torch level.
Not just the Ghostbusters get to go up there. Look at the snow whipping in there in New York City. We'll be right back.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees under cloudy skies. Tonight, snow, low 18. Chance of snow, 70%. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Saturday, snow showers, high 24. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Saturday night, clear to partly cloudy. A few flurries or snow showers possible. Low 13. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Hey, let's take you to Atlantic City. How about that? Pretty good shot.
It is. You know, the boardwalk, not typically the place you'd see buckets of snow coming on in, but tonight, that snow line staying well offshore.
Yeah, that's fairly unusual. How about snow in Southtown? Atlanta, Georgia right now, showing you the snow. From the reports of our intrepid people who work here and my wife, it's not sticking to the road, but it's sticking to grassy surfaces right now.
Which you'd expect with 33 degrees.
Sure.
The road surface is still above freezing, so wet as opposed to white, which is good for us as we have to drive home at some point.
Keep your composure, Atlanta.
Yes. Stay calm. Keep driving. Meanwhile, Winter Storm Jonas has already caused air travel to stop altogether. You're better on the roads in the south than in the airways in the northeast, that's for sure. The ripple effect going across the country.
Yeah, NBC's Jacob Rascon found some people that are spending the night at the airport.
Misery in the air, on the roads,
It's cold out here.
and on the rails. You just can't get there from here. Some of the nation's busiest airports brought to a standstill with a ripple effect. Richard Carey and Linda McKee struggling to get to San Francisco.
Trying to get out of town before the snowstorm. This is our third flight change since we started.
FlightAware reports more than 3,000 flights canceled and more than 6,000 delayed so far. Over Dulles Airport outside Washington, flights circled today, waiting clear runways for landing. By day's end, no flights in or out of Dulles, Washington National, Philadelphia, and Charlotte through Saturday. This Florida high school basketball team stuck in Atlanta.
Our flight got canceled while we were on it, and we had to get back off it, and now we've been waiting here since about 10, 11 o'clock.
But nobody wants to get caught driving in a blizzard. Virginia State Police alone have taken more than 1,000 calls reporting accidents in disabled cars. Greyhound and other bus liners canceling routes. And Amtrak is up and running, but already modifying schedules.
Trains are actually able to operate through pretty severe conditions. Other pieces of infrastructure, however, especially dated infrastructure like we have here on the Northeast Corridor, can be somewhat vulnerable.
Best travel advice? Don't.
You were planning to fly tomorrow. Your flight has been canceled, and please do not come to the airport.
As you can tell, the terminals are emptying. Behind me, those getting on the last flights out. It's a travel nightmare affecting airports as far away as California, and many say it's not going to be wrapped up until the middle of next week. Jacob Rascon, NBC News, Philadelphia.
Jacob, thank you so much. Meanwhile, we have big-time coastal impacts from this storm. Winter Storm Jonas, as this low from our storm goes near the coastline, it's not necessarily the strongest low we've ever seen, and we don't have the strongest high-pressure zone we've ever seen, but the difference between them is what funnels in the wind. And we're seeing a very strong pressure gradient. The difference between those two pressure zones, that's what's forcing the wind directly towards the coastline from the really the outer bank almost all the way up through Ocean City, Maryland to Atlantic City, New Jersey. Overnight tonight, that really quite strong onshore flow will continue. That continues not only through the night, but through much of the day Saturday and into Sunday morning when it finally turns around. What that means is you're going to have several high tide cycles where coastal flooding will be a problem. Plus, you already had astronomically high tides because it's a full moon right now, and that brings the water level up a little bit as well. So there's a lot working against you here. That's why there's coastal flood warnings. Maryland into Delaware, almost all the Jersey Shore, and then continuing up through Long Island, there's some coastal flood advisories, even into coastal Connecticut. So this goes pretty far north. As you can see here, we've got some warnings, some advisory level criteria. By, moderate level flooding, we could have some homes and businesses with at least lower level flooding, maybe some evacuations for, if not people, at least their stuff to higher levels. As we talk about the wind itself, look at some of these numbers, right? 35 to 40 miles per hour, and that's just the beginning. We run this out. Some 50 to 60 mile per hour winds are possible. That means a chance for power outages just from the wind alone, Keith.
All right, thank you, Mark. Let's take you to Nashville, Tennessee with some drone video there. They got a bunch of snow. Snowiest day in 13 years in the Music City. Still probably get some PBRs there on Broadway, though.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees with light snow. Tonight, snow, low 18. Chance of snow, 70%. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Saturday, snow showers, high 24. 1 to 3 inches of snow expected. Saturday night, clear to partly cloudy. A few flurries or snow showers possible. Low 13. Here's our 7-day outlook.
You know, the snowflakes are flying. This is New York City. We're looking at the top of the Statue of Liberty, and so the snowflakes are lit up by the torch at the top there. And yeah, you can see them flying towards the camera thanks to the wind coming off the water, going right past the camera, right past the torch. And these are now reaching the ground midtown. It's picking up. The snow is really just beginning.
I got a hunch New York City might overperform in this snowstorm. We'll see how that turns out. Already snowing there, as you can see. And a small army of snowplows working together to keep the runways and taxiways clear at Washington, D.C.'s Dulles Airport. So far, 6,700 flights nationwide have been canceled through tomorrow.
This is why they say that the airport, not technically closed, it's just that the airlines happen to close and cancel all their flights.
You know, I've actually been on a flight where they took the plow right down and we basically followed it.
Wow.
It turned off and we went right away. That was in Maine. They did it. They still took off.
More power to that pilot and very brave passengers.
Yeah, I was okay. I cried a little, but otherwise I was fine.
I can see that.
We're staying with you live around the clock for Winter Storm Jonas. Thanks for joining us. I'm Keith Carson.
And I'm Mark Elliott. And we are well into the middle of this storm, but still, we're going to keep you updated on any latest model runs, any changes that could happen, the impacts that we know will occur. You're going to hear about them as the show rolls on.
Yeah, for sure. And here's a look at the latest snowfall projections. There's no real changes to this. You know, the only thing I'd say if you weren't tuning in, say, during the day today, is that the heavier snow shifted just a tad bit north in through parts of Connecticut, Rhode Island, even Cape Cod, Massachusetts. That in accordance with some model trends and what's happening right now.
Yeah, and that said, we know that this storm has big-time snow potential. When West Virginia in a couple different places has gone between a foot to a foot and a half, when Asheville, North Carolina has gone past 10 inches, and that's, sure, you got some help from the Appalachian chain, but that's the kind of moisture that's moving north.
Right, yeah, some big snow totals in the south and mid-south, especially. That probably would be our #1 story if it weren't now moving through D.C., Baltimore, and Philadelphia. Let's get to our man on the ground now. It is Mike Seidel, who is standing in the middle of Washington, D.C. And Mike, what have you seen for changes in the past 30 minutes or so?
Well, the wind is certainly ramping up slowly but surely. Right now, gusting 29 at nearby Reagan National over on the Potomac River behind me. By the way, we just got the latest observations as 11 o'clock Eastern time. Reagan now 6 inches, another inch in the past hour, and Dulles Airport out in the burbs about 20 miles north and west of where we are has picked up 7 inches, another inch in the past hour. They picked up 2 inches in the past 2 hours. So we're snowing at about an inch an hour. And if you think about it, they've had 6 inches so far at Reagan. We're already a third of the way to the third largest snowstorm on record, if you think about it that way. The third largest is 18.7. That was the President's Day storm in 1979. The second largest was the blizzard of 1899 with 20.0, and the largest was the Knickerbocker storm. That was 94 years ago with 28 inches. So we're not even to midnight. We're getting into the early stages of the storm. We still got snowfall for at least another 18 hours, and we're already at 6 inches. So it just puts it into perspective. We've got these bands coming up now. This band, check that on the radar, to our south, and that's going to come right up to D.C. and Baltimore, between the Bay and the district, coming right up from the south, and those are the snowfall rates that could approach 2 inches an hour and could be convective. So we could get some thunder snow. Very little traffic out here tonight. This is what we had expected. This is good to see. People need to stay off the roads, especially as we get into the overnight hours and Saturday because of the blowing and drifting. You don't want to get stuck in this situation with temperatures down in the low 20s and wind chills in the single numbers. Keith, Mark?
Yeah, and Mike, this is one of those historic storms, as you mentioned, but largely because of the snowfall rates that are being anticipated throughout the night and into early tomorrow. Talk about what people will experience from not only D.C., but through potentially New York City as well.
Yeah, the same kind of deal. The wind combined with the snow is going to be the issue. Now, as you get near the Jersey Shore and even South Shore, Long Island, it's going to be a heavier, wetter snow. And when you throw in 50, potentially 60-mile-an-hour plus wind gusts on those beaches, you could have some power outage. It's already down in the Tidewater area of Virginia. We're getting gusts to 50 miles an hour on land. So that just shows you, and the storm is just getting itself together off the Carolina coast. We got a long way to go. So if we're getting 50-mile-an-hour gusts right now, just think about what we're going to see later tonight and tomorrow. Gusts easily over 60, 65 miles an hour. And that pounding surf, 3 high tides of concern starting tomorrow morning. We have a full moon on Saturday, the 23rd of January. So that aids and abets with a higher tide, but that sustained wind from the northeast is going to pile the water up. Now, the wind eventually will go around north. That'll help things out a little bit. We won't have as much of a component towards the coastline. You can see the rain-snow line right there on the radar. It's raining down towards the Tidewater, all the way up now into the lower eastern shore of Maryland. So that's the warm air coming in, and that's overriding this cold air. It's not going to get far enough west that we change over, but as you get towards Annapolis, towards the bay, we may see some sleet mixing in. And now there goes a truck that's filled with snow. So they're not only doing snow clearing, they're doing snow removal around the Capitol. So he's taking that somewhere. So they're trying to keep it up with the snowfall rate. Again, 1 inch an hour, and it's very dry and powdery, and you can see what happens out here. It just blows around as the plows go back and forth up Louisiana Avenue. Guys, again, it's going to snow harder and it's going to blow harder, and this is a long duration event, as we mentioned. Everything is shut down. Metro, they did an unusual call yesterday to shut the Metro down in advance. So from this point on, rail service shut down just a few minutes ago at 11 o'clock. So for the rest of the weekend, Metro buses, everything's shut down until at least Monday morning. So getting around, you're going to be on your own. Guys?
Thanks, Mike. It is a bit surprising, though, because, I mean, the Metro, a lot of those tracks are underground, and that would be, in theory, a pretty decent way to get around during a snowstorm. I guess they don't even want people walking to the Metro stops because the potential for the low visibility and the heavy snow.
And you compare that to, you know, Boston's MBTA system was just destroyed last year, but they're not as good. The Metro's a good system. All right, so we're talking about some of the snow wrapping up on the backside, just some snow showers. Good news, Mark, we didn't have quite as much ice accretion as we may have thought.
Yeah, you know, Sarah was just mentioning this in the background, right? It's snow to rain. There's a very thin line of any of that freezing rain or mixed bag of precip. Instead, it's mostly about the snow and some big-time winds and banding snow at that.
What's going on with that, Matt?
I don't know. It looks
right, let's take you to Washington, D.C. right now, where, as you can see, it's snowing pretty good. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. This is near Harrisburg, Virginia. Say it again one more time.
It's Massanutten Ski Resort near Harrisonburg, Virginia. How hard is that?
You totally didn't want to say it before we came out. You're killing me. All right, anyways, they're going to get a ton of snow out there. It is 21 degrees right now. Pretty much all of Virginia is looking at over 18 inches of snow.
Yeah, but this is right near the bullseye. We could see over 30 inches of snow there. You got some elevation, some orographic lift helping out. I'm throwing all the big words out.
I love it when you talk orographic lift. They're going to have all the fun there. Let's bring in Tom Nizzle, because Tom wishes he was standing in that 30 inches. Let me ask you about New York City, because the National Weather Service in New York just went to 18 to 24. Yeah. A big jump for them. Where are we sitting?
Well, we're around 16 to 18 inches right in the city, and it's interesting because our higher resolution models over the past couple of days have been hinting at a little more snowfall than the standard operational models we look at. And there's been some question there. If there's been any question in the modeling at all, it's that northern line, right? And so right now, we've actually seen our dew models actually take that heavier snowfall up into the city. It doesn't surprise me too much because of the easterly winds that are coming in off the ocean, and I'll talk about that in a minute.
quickly, can we actually say that the 9am might have been right?
Oh.
Like that felt so wrong coming out of my mouth, but
I can't do
it
that.
hurts, doesn't it? But I mean, the 9am had a lot of snow in New York.
No, look, it's a fact. Every one of these models is reams better than they were 5 years ago. These are fantastic computer models that we're running these days with the computer power we have, and the testament to that is how well this system has been
It's
forecast.
why we look at all of them, not just one, because each piece adds another picture to the puzzle.
But there are still issues, and on the periphery of the storm in New York, this is what we're seeing right now. So let's take a quick look here at the water vapor imagery. There is the upper level low. The surface low is right here on the coast, developing rapidly, and that's going to be moving north-northeastward over the next 24 hours. Here is the snowfall right now. You can see the rain-snow line right up here coming along the tidewater, and up into D.C., you're not going to get into the rainfall here. We're well into the cold air here, and in fact, not only the cold air, but we've been talking about these darker bands of snow that are working their way northward, along with that big jet stream coming out of the ocean here at about 4,000 feet in the atmosphere. Strong convection in there. I would not be surprised, in addition to seeing snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches an hour, to possibly see a little bit of thunder snow in the next several hours. And if we take a look at the winds combined with the snow, DC's gusting to 29, Annapolis gusting to 30. Down along the tidewater, Mike Seidel had mentioned this as well. We're starting to see wind gusts approaching 50 miles an hour, and that is going to work its way across here overnight tonight. It is going to be a rough night with those blizzard warnings that are in effect right now. We'll continue to see those kind of winds. That wind combined with the snowfall. Take a look at these visibilities here throughout the entire area. Visibility's down to a quarter mile and less in many areas due to that combination of the wind and snow. We'll continue to see the system work its way across this region. That heavy snow stays right in that area. It just kind of pivots in there for about a 12 to 18-hour period of time. That's one of the earmarks of this storm, is the length of the impacts. The combination of wind and snow across the area finally moves out of the coastal areas Sunday morning. Here is what we have in Philadelphia, that big plume of heavy snow, 20-inch plus in and around the city, to the north of the city. To the south of that, we drop off very rapidly down toward Cape May. And this is New York. We are talking about that. Right now, we're looking at 16 to 18 inches, as much as 20 inches just to the south. And the island as well is going to have 14 to probably 16 inches of snow. And guys, wind gusts going 50, 55 miles an hour in that area for a time Saturday and Saturday night. It's going to be a good weekend to stay home, hunker down, a cup of hot chocolate, and just enjoy the Weather Channel here following the storm.
Nice. Some blowing and drifting snow and a cup of hot chocolate. Sounds like a plan.
Ratings bonanza. Thank you, Tom. Let's take you to Philadelphia right now, where you're just talking about a good deal of snowfall anticipated there. And yeah, snowing pretty good.
Yep, that's Center City, right? Downtown Philadelphia.
Should be.
That's what you can see normally. Now it's a lot of snow and a couple of lights in the background.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees with light snow. Tonight, cloudy with periods of snow after midnight. Low 18. Snowfall around 1 inch. Saturday, variably cloudy with snow showers. High 24. Saturday night, clear to partly cloudy. A few flurries or snow showers possible. Low 13. Here's our 7-day outlook.
So power outages, a big concern for Winter Storm Jonas and any area that it moves into. So some of these power crews are coming to the rescue all the way from Oklahoma City. They're headed out on a trip to North Carolina, helping Duke Energy crews restore power and infrastructure. At this hour, about 130 100,000 customers in North Carolina alone remain without power. Nationwide, it's up to 160,000 customers in the dark, and I have a high suspicion that that will increase from here.
Yeah, pretty early for that. And power outages, only one of the main problems we've seen so far. Tonight, nearly 90 million people are feeling the effects of Winter Storm Jonas.
And we still got a long way to go, right? We've been following NBC's Miguel Almaguer, taking a look at some of the impacts that have already been felt.
Tonight, this deadly winter wallop is showing little mercy. Blinding snow, paralyzing ice, widespread power outages crippling 20 states. Nashville, Tennessee going nowhere fast. More than 200 collisions in 6 hours, only getting worse. With 1 in every 4 Americans facing this brutal blast, it's a whiteout in Kentucky, and for many, a blackout at home. Tens of thousands in a deep freeze without electricity or heat. With trees crashing into homes, cars are sliding into each other. Freeways a standstill, others a ghost town. It's a state of emergency in Washington, D.C. Inside the war room, calls for help have doubled. The blizzard could be catastrophic.
We haven't seen a storm like this in the district in 90 years.
Pro basketball and hockey games postponed. The National Guard loading Humvees, first responders ready to roll.
Road conditions is a big concern for us, making sure that we can actually get to the scene.
With gas pumps empty, store shelves are bare.
We've gone grocery shopping like 3 times, so.
Tonight, this monster storm, 1,000 miles wide, is bringing travel to a standstill. In Chicago, a plane skidded off an icy runway. Thousands of canceled flights. Tonight, New York is bracing. Philly expecting more than a foot of snow. D.C., 2.
Strong winds will lead to near zero visibility and cause trees to fall on overhead power lines.
Governor Christie off the campaign trail, now returning home.
Hate to be the bearer of bad news.
Mandatory evacuations tonight along the Jersey Shore, still reeling from Superstorm Sandy, now facing severe flooding and beach erosion.
Nobody wants to be in waist-deep, freezing cold water in the middle of, 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts and blizzard whiteout conditions.
Another relentless punch.
D.C. could remain in the bullseye for several hours. They say the conditions that could possibly develop could be life-threatening. We should begin to start digging out here on Sunday. The big question, what will happen between now and then? Back to you.
All right, thank you, Miguel. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on right now and take a look at the radar picture with this storm system. It is doing everything it's supposed to, which we like. Low here going up the eastern seaboard, rain snow line right along the outer banks of the Carolinas. But for the most part, we're looking at largely snow here. Let's take you to New York City, where it's escalating quickly as far as snowfall predictions. Tom talked a little bit about how some of our computer models have now bumped it a little bit farther north, getting into Connecticut, where they've just issued a blizzard warning in Connecticut as well. So we're looking at a good deal of snowfall here, over a foot in New York City, up to 18 inches of possibility. And of course, Philadelphia getting in on this as well. But they saturated the column quickly, already snowing, and that will continue. Meanwhile, way down in Atlanta, just ending this little remnants. I know most of you in the mid-Atlantic are laughing at the snow here, but an inch or so in the Atlanta area, continuing to move to the south. There have been snow showers in Florida. That's how wrapped up this storm is, allowing all that cold air to come in on the back side of it. Norfolk changing over to rain. Some dynamics there with some thunderstorms. Got a tweet with someone in North Carolina saying they were hearing thunder and lightning. Some of that will transfer its way into these snow bands in Baltimore and Washington, hence thunder snow. We'll be right back.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees with light snow. Tonight, cloudy with periods of snow after midnight. Low 18. Snowfall around 1 inch. Saturday, variably cloudy with snow showers. High 24. Saturday night, clear to partly cloudy. A few flurries or snow showers possible. Low 13. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Hey, check this out. Wintergreen Ski Resort west of Charlottesville, Virginia. Some good snow. They love it. You know, ski areas love this stuff.
Yeah, you know, you might have some snow weather weenies at home.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, the ski resort towns, man. This is what they live for.
This is good. I like that. Blowing snow, drifting snow. Yeah, we'll check back in with that camera because they're having all the fun there at the moment. Just
feels like 2 degrees, by the way, so maybe not the most comfortable skiing. But worth it.
They got stuff for that.
Yeah. It's 1:30 now. I'm Mark Elliott.
And I'm Keith Carson. We're here with you all night to track Winter Storm Jonas. Of course, that is our big and really our only story today. Let's focus on New Jersey's coastline right now. Some parts of the Jersey Shore under mandatory evacuations, while others have decided they're going to stay. Others are leaving.
Right. Jackie Beckford with our affiliate WNBC is joining us now from Manasquan, New Jersey, just south of Asbury Park. Tell us a little bit about what this town's deciding to do and what people have been telling you along the Jersey coast. It's, man, the wind and the snow is really picking up.
Yeah, it is. And you can probably tell with all the snow being blown into my face just now. Here in Manasquan, it's a voluntary evacuation at this point. 6 other shore towns have also issued voluntary evacuations. Coastal flooding, the main concern, of course, but we're seeing a lot of the snow right now. It started snowing around 7:30 tonight, and look at this, about 4 inches at this point. This is the main concern at this point, but then tomorrow people have to start thinking about, are they going to stay or are they going to go once those high tides start setting in? And some people haven't made that decision yet. The storm brewing outside, a countdown of sorts for those on the Jersey Shore still struggling to decide, should they stay or should they go?
Some of the neighbors ask, they always ask me what I'm doing, only because they know I probably have the lowest house in the neighborhood.
Tom Schofield's house doesn't stack up to elevated homes on Manasquan's flood-prone Perrine Boulevard, but the volunteer firefighter is sticking it out with a plan.
We spent 3 hours today raising all the furniture because I was here for Sandy. The water was 4 feet.
And he lost it all more than 3 years ago, now raising everything 3 feet off the ground in case the storm pushes water from the harbor across the street straight into his home again. 6 other coastal towns have issued voluntary evacuations.
Hate to be the bearer of bad news.
But Barnegat officials aren't taking any chances with one street where storm surges could reach dangerous heights.
So if you stay, you're staying at your own risk.
Police going door to door telling people on Bayshore Drive they need to leave. Some wouldn't budge, but this woman...
We're going to be evacuating. I have an 88-year-old father here that I take care of, and we have to leave.
While we found a lot of people willing to ride out the storm, packed parking lots on high ground like this one, proof they weren't willing to bet their cars on it.
Usually it's vacant. You know, especially come 9 o'clock at night, there's never anybody here. But I think all the low-lying areas, they've moved all the vehicles from the shore area here to higher ground.
And all of this fresh white snow, pretty to look at right now in our first major snowstorm of the season. But again, the major concern here on the Jersey Shore is going to be coastal flooding tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening. Local municipalities, including this one, suggesting people should go. Barnegat, the only one right now telling people that they have to go. But again, as you saw, some people aren't heeding those warnings. We're in Manasquan tonight, guys. Back to you.
Thanks so much for the update. Snowy scene there at the Jersey Shore.
Yeah, all right, let's go from Jersey to D.C., and I don't know if Mike could see that shot there. Oh, he's got some guests, so I'm going to skip this all together. Mike, who are your friends?
Okay, we got some friends here from Washington, or they live and work here. We've got Trevor, Copeland, Lee, and Kevin out here for a late night walk around the Capitol. Some of you work up on the Hill, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you're from Atlanta.
I am.
So have you ever seen this much snow before?
No, this is one of the reasons I moved up to D.C. besides working in politics was to experience a nor'easter like this. And it's unlike anything I've ever experienced, and it's just a once-in-a-lifetime thing for me. It's insane. It's so much snow so far.
Well, there you go. And what's your dog's name, Lee?
This is Sally right here.
Come here, Sally. You like the snow, Sally? What do you think? Now, show us your high-class footwear.
Oh, well, the bags are supposed to go down in boots.
Now, what are the bags on the boots supposed to do? Because are they supposed to keep your feet dry?
Yeah, until they ripped. But yeah, they're supposed to keep your feet dry so the snow doesn't get in there and, you know, freeze your feet off.
Gosh.
And he's from Wisconsin.
And you're from Wisconsin.
Yeah, I came unprepared, so sorry for all my folks.
And where are you from?
Chicago.
Okay, Lisa, you've been through weather like this before.
Yeah, this is a taste of home.
A taste of home.
Yeah.
So what do you guys plan to do all weekend now that everything's snowed under and you don't have to work?
Taking walks like this, you know, just to feel the nice weather.
How about a little sledding now that we can? How about some sledding?
Yeah, we're going to be sledding at the Capitol.
Now that it's legal, believe it or not, you couldn't sled on the Capitol grounds for years and years. Some old law about tearing up the turf. But now it's legal, so I think we're going to have a big crowd out there, especially, maybe not so much tomorrow, but on Sunday when the sun comes out.
We'll be out there, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be sledding.
Should be a great time, huh?
I look forward to it now that it's, you know, not illegal.
Yeah, we don't want the Capitol Police to take you off in handcuffs. Okay, Mark and Keith, good group of individuals out here enjoying a snowy, windy Friday night here at the Capitol here in Washington, as we're now up over 6 inches officially at Reagan National, up over 7 at Dulles, and Old Town Alexandria checking in with 8 inches in the past hour. Guys?
Yeah, and you can just see that snow going completely sideways in the shot, too.
Yeah, Mike, you couldn't lend them some LL Bean boots? They got to have the plastic bags there?
Well, yeah, my coworkers Keith and Mark back in the studio wondering where your LL Bean boots are.
You know, I kind of forgot I'm at home. Maybe I should place an order.
Hey, he works up on the hill. He's not, you know, people on the hill aren't making that kind of money, right?
Exactly, yeah. You know, you offer me a discount, sure.
Yeah, there you go. Well, it's true. It's true, right?
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to dress the part, and there's a big op-ed piece in the paper the other day about needing to dress the part but not making a lot of money.
This is why we can't bring you anywhere, Mike.
Double standard. You know?
Yeah. No, I'm not making. I don't make this stuff up. I mean, I've made stuff up in the past, but I'm not making this up.
Usually it's just the forecast.
What's that?
It's even harder when you're an unpaid intern as well.
Yeah, and Copeland says it's even harder when you're an unpaid intern. Look at his yellow bags. Look at this footwear. Look at this.
No gloves at all.
It's impressive.
You need to get some Jimmy Choo heels. Guys, back to you before I lose control of the situation.
All right, let's take it back from Mike before he starts asking for their W-2s on national television. All right, thank you, Mike. They have a good spirit, though. I like that. That's one thing, you know, when once they shut a city down on a weekend for a blizzard, it can be a little bit of fun like that.
Right. If you're not in a car stuck on a highway overnight, I think D.C. really learned its lesson from the precursor snow from Ilias moving through, and that may have actually helped out considerably now that this snow is arrived. And notice the banding features that are setting up across the I-95 corridor.
Rain snow line down there, pretty clean, which is good because we're not seeing a ton of ice on that. You got your pen? Is the pen working?
I do. Look at that. Okay. A bonus night. Everything's coming up Millhouse. Here's the thing, though. You get all this warm, juicy air. Even though it's going into the colder, you still have that tropical flow, and that's really going to add in to the snowfall totals across the area.
You know, we were talking about during the break how there's really no dry slot with this storm system to speak of, and that can be a real killer. These things look great on the computer models. Then a dry slot gets in and it shuts it down. Not really seeing any of that.
No, plus you get the upper level low to swing in behind and re-moisten up the atmosphere. You get added lift that way. The nerdy speak for it's not going to stop snowing for a while,
really
and
solid.
we can model it out for you. Look at the banding. Look at that. I mean, the entire zone, almost all of Maryland, under the deepest blue color, and that continues with some decent bands all the way through New York City. We're talking about New York raising the forecast there.
Connecticut, too. You know, I mentioned this before. Connecticut under blizzard watch, warning now.
Yeah,
because
coastal Connecticut
just a
especially.
little bit farther north is enough for them. Bridgeport, place like that.
Your friends up in Boston, what do you think?
My weenie friends in Boston are not excited about it, but I think Cape Cod probably going to see a good amount.
South and east looking much better. We'll have more details on Jonas and any changes in the forecast or track come up after this.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees with light snow. Tonight, cloudy with periods of snow after midnight. Low 18. Snowfall around 1 inch. Saturday, variably cloudy with snow showers. High 24. Saturday night, clear to partly cloudy. A few flurries or snow showers possible. Low 13. Here's our 7-day outlook.
doing here.
We're doing it live into New York City, where, my goodness, the snow is finally moving on in, and it will really pick up. This is just the beginning. Don't be fooled. Don't think that you're missing out because there's some snowflakes out there. No. The snow is moving in, and the pretty intense bands will set up later on tonight. Keith, along with winter weather expert Tom Nizzle, guys, we've got some major snow on the way and possibly some overachieving snow in the New York City area.
Yeah, we've been talking about this for the past couple of days. Some of our high-resolution models had much higher snowfall amounts in New York City. We had a big change in snowfall from just south to just north of the city, something we refer to as the gradient of snowfall, right?
We love that gradient to be somewhere in Montana, not over the nation's most populous city, but it looks like things are coming to an alignment now, and they're erring on the higher side of totals.
Yeah, we're pushing the totals now in New York City more toward that 18 to 20-inch range, and, you know, if they get over 28.8 inches, I think, they end up with a top 5 storm in New York City. So this is really getting
Could be a little sneaky. I mean, not that they didn't know it was coming. We knew it was coming a week ahead of time. But I think our focus has always been down towards D.C. and the Delmarva. And now if New York gets a lot, that'll be something.
Well, and you know, a lot of it has to do with the track of this low. Now, watch this now. We've got satellite imagery, and on top of that, what I've done is I've overlaid the low pressure system moving over the last several hours here. And I want to stop this right here at the present time. Two things to note. It's hugging right along the coast here, and it's going to move in this direction. The other thing is all these lines that are so close together there, that is the change in pressure between this low and the high up here to the north, and that signals these really strong winds, Keith. So it's going to be very interesting.
It's very wrapped up. Whenever you see those lines close, that means it's going to be very, very gusty there. Let's take it to Ocean City right now. Speaking of that, and this is kind of what we're watching along the coastline. You can see that camera shaking there as these winds start to fetch strongly out of the east and northeast, looking at a bridge there in Ocean City, Maryland.
Oh, wow. Take a look at that. And my gosh, that is, you know, when I expected to see this, but you take a look at your wind gusts here. At Virginia Beach, we're gusting 45 miles an hour. And there's a data buoy located just off of Virginia Beach. We've actually got gusts close to 60 miles an hour now. So we are really ramping this up. And that is why this entire area is under blizzard warnings.
So you've got the wind, you got the snow, and of course, here are your blizzard warnings. We talked about before, you don't need a lot of snow to get a blizzard warning, but they're also going to get a lot of snow.
It's going to, you know, it's going to be a 1-2 punch here. And the blizzard warnings have just been moved a little further northward, right along the southern coast there of Connecticut, and that's due to the combination of wind and now the higher snowfall totals we're seeing there.
Yeah, I know a couple of weather weenies on Twitter that are really happy in Connecticut right now. They're just going to get on the edge of that really heavy stuff, especially southern Connecticut.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting, and the silver lining in this storm is it's occurring on a weekend. So, you know, you're home tonight, you stay home tomorrow, and you can watch the storm from inside. Watch these winds now as we go through the rest of the night. As we mentioned, Atlantic City gusts to 60, New York City gusts to 50 here, and they actually gust to 60 for a period of time in and around the city out on the island here as we go through the first half of the day on Saturday. Eventually, the storm loses its grip as it goes out to sea, but it's going to be a good 12 to 18 hours of some really rough conditions.
You know what strikes me about this is how well computer models handled this, because it was last weekend that we were all sitting and firing emails off about this storm, roughly this time frame. That doesn't happen very often.
It doesn't, and you know, it's a testament, I think, to the computer models, the computer power that we have now with all of these new models and the ability for them to actually pick up these features and take them out so far in time.
And the signal, very strong signal. So here's snowfall totals here. The south starting to finish up after, Tom, it's almost like it's not lost on us because we live in the south here in Atlanta, but it was a big storm in the mid-south.
Oh, there were portions of Nashville. You get into parts of Kentucky, you know, those areas, Asheville, North Carolina, all of these areas receiving significant snows. These were big snow amounts, and, you know, fortunately it is winding down there. But if you take a look, and here's this big plume of moisture that's cutting up across the region now. I want to zoom in on it and clear this off here. And again, talking about these bands of heavier snow here that are putting down snowfall rates of at least an inch an hour. Both Dulles and Reagan have picked up 2 inches in the past 2 hours. I would not be surprised to pick up a good foot of snow here overnight, you know, in the next 6 to 8 hours.
How about Delaware, Tom?
Delaware, guess what it's going to do in Delaware?
Snow.
It is going to snow, and it's going to get windy there as well. We've had a lot of requests from our viewers in Delaware. Tell us what's going on there. Absolutely, you're going to get it as well. It is going to snow heavily there. We're seeing some of these heavy bands there right now.
All right, thank you, Tom. Mark, back to you.
Thanks, guys. You know, snow and 36 degrees in Ocean City, but could get down to near 30. So that kind of windy camera that we were looking at, things are changing quick.
Could be bad.
36 and snow already. Of course, it doesn't have to be all doom and gloom. There's a fun side to the storm. Snowball fights. We'll get to those next.
All we need to sell Strongbow Hard Cider is ice. Oh, and an award for best tasting hard cider. You're in our shot. No, I'm not. Strongbow!
Eat up, buddy. They'll get it this time. Yeah.
Okay, not too quick. Don't let go until I say so.
I got you.
Start strong with the lasting energy of 100% whole grain Quaker oats. And off you go.
Make the cash call and ask for the do-over refi. If you refinanced your mortgage in the last 18 months, we can redo it at a lower rate, like today's 2.875% rate and APR with no closing costs. Just call 855-890-CASH.
We know you have a morning routine. We have one too. 7 days a week. AMHQ is right here and weather ready.
Let me get you ready for the day weather-wise.
We've got a lot going on this morning.
Definitely see what kind of pattern we've had. So start your morning routine with Jim Cantori, Stephanie Abrams, Jan Carfagno, and the rest of AMHQ.
It is a team here at the Weather Channel, and an awesome team at that.
Let's get right to what you want, and that is the weather.
AMHQ, every morning starting at 5 on the Weather Channel.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees with light snow. Tonight, cloudy with periods of snow after midnight. Low 18. Snowfall around 1 inch. Saturday, variably cloudy with snow showers. High 24. Saturday night, clear to partly cloudy. A few flurries or snow showers possible. Low 13. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Well, how about this? It's not all doom and gloom during this snowstorm, right? Look at this. Nashville students going outside, having a campus-wide snowball fight, which is something we used to do at Rutgers all the time.
This makes me think of the scene from Elf. Remember that? When Will Ferrell just starts rifling off snowballs in Central Park. Looks like fun. In Nashville, yeah, they got a pretty good hit with this snowstorm. That's why I mentioned before, they're pretty much done in the south, but it was significant.
This is the summary, though. Once you are where you're staying, snow can be great. But if you were commuting in Nashville this morning and got that burst of snow, it was a terrible time on the roads. Right. So there's two sides to these.
And everybody says telecommute, but there are some jobs, like ours, for example, where you can't
live
work
here.
from home.
Welcome to the place you stay for the week that there's snow.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. In any case, winter storm Jonas has caused travel issues, and that's putting it lightly. An all-out stop at most of the Northeast airports, the ripple effects going across the country.
NBC's Jacob Rascon found some people are spending the night at the airport.
Misery in the air. On the roads.
It's cold out here.
And on the rails. You just can't get there from here. Some of the nation's busiest airports brought to a standstill with a ripple effect. Richard Carey and Linda McKee struggling to get to San Francisco.
Trying to get out of town before the snowstorm. This is our third flight change since we started.
FlightAware reports more than 3,000 flights canceled and more than 6,000 delayed so far. Over Dulles Airport outside Washington, flights circled today, waiting clear runways for landing. By day's end, no flights in or out of Dulles, Washington National, Philadelphia, and Charlotte through Saturday. This Florida high school basketball team stuck in Atlanta.
Our flight got canceled while we were on it, and we had to get back off it, and now we've been waiting here since about 10, 11 o'clock.
But nobody wants to get caught driving in a blizzard. Virginia State Police alone have taken more than 1,000 calls reporting accidents in disabled cars. Greyhound and other bus liners canceling routes. And Amtrak is up and running, but already modifying schedules.
Trains are actually able to operate through pretty severe conditions. Other pieces of infrastructure, however, especially dated infrastructure like we have here on the Northeast Corridor, can be somewhat vulnerable.
Best travel advice? Don't.
You were planning to fly tomorrow. Your flight has been canceled, and please do not come to the airport.
As you can tell, the terminals are emptying. Behind me, those getting on the last flights out. It's a travel nightmare affecting airports as far away as California, and many say it's not going to be wrapped up until the middle of next week. Jacob Rescone, NBC News, Philadelphia.
Jacob, we can give you a pretty good hint as to which airports have ground to a stop, right? Look at this. Roanoke, D.C., Baltimore, Philly, Newark Liberty, JFK, LaGuardia, all the way up into Connecticut, potentially to Boston with some delays, but not nearly as extreme as what you're seeing off to the south. All this pink color, blizzard warnings that continue. Not only the fact that we're getting snow, but that snow is blowing around in gusty winds and lowering the visibility to extremely low levels. And the snowfall totals will be impressive. Blizzard and heavy snow don't have to go together, but in a storm like this, they certainly do. 18 to 24 inches now, much of northern and central Jersey, back through southeast PA, including near Philadelphia. Notice what's happening just north and east and north and west, rather, of the D.C. and Baltimore areas. Gargantuan snowfall totals. Someone in here is going to see 30 inches of snow before all is said and done. We can time this out for you. Here's the snow that's already begun tonight, and then look what happens by tomorrow. We see this upper level low come back in and fill in the snow, so we're not done even as our low is drifting away. It's also slowing down, getting kind of caught up by that mid-level feature, keeping the snow for the coastal portions of the mid-Atlantic and extreme southern New England all the way through Saturday night. This is going to be a long-lived event. A lot of wind to talk about. High wind warnings for much of the eastern shore, up through Delaware, into southern New Jersey, even across the Potomac, where we're going to see some of those gusty winds. And again, a blizzard, you have to have 35-mile-per-hour winds. It has to be a quarter-mile visibility or less, and all of that has to last for at least 3 hours. Keith, over to you.
All right, thanks, Mark. Let's take you to South Carolina. Video from our Weather Channel field pro, Larry Curtis Hines, Lyman, South Carolina. Let's see the snow coming down there. We'll be right back.
A winter storm warning in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees with light snow. Tonight, cloudy with periods of snow after midnight. Low 18. Snowfall around 1 inch. Saturday, variably cloudy with snow showers. High 24. Saturday night, clear to partly cloudy. A few flurries or snow showers possible. Low 13. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Well, how about this? My old stomping grounds down the Jersey Shore, right? A snowy scene there. Atlantic City, the boardwalk, you think summertime, you think the ocean, you think the beach. A little different look out there tonight.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting because they're seeing some snow in there, temperatures in the 20s right now.
Is that snow going by or is that ocean spray?
It's a very good question.
I think that's just
some spray on the ground, and then they're seeing some sort of precipitation at 24, I'd imagine snow, but yeah, it's probably a combination.
Yeah, I think that's just some kind of gusts of wind going by the camera and swirling that snow around. There's another one. That's definitely snow. It is really coming down.
Nasty stuff there. All right, that is Winter Storm Jonas. We're staying with you live around the clock for Winter Storm Jonas. Thanks for joining us. I'm Keith Carson.
And I'm Mark Elliott, and we are just, I mean, the first maybe third of this storm, 2/3 of it still to come. So as this continues to unfold, we're going to update you on the latest model runs. We'll show you any changes in your forecast, if the impacts that you need to know. we're going to bring it to you
We
throughout
got
the
you
show.
covered.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the latest snowfall projections here. And not a whole lot has changed. There's been some finessing of the data up towards New York City, just a little bit, upping it a tiny bit here, because the trend is your friend, they say in forecasting, and the trend is that it is already snowing in New York, and the computer models have shifted it a bit north.
Yeah, and those bands of heavier snow have filled in across D.C. and Baltimore up through Philly, and that's also going to move north as our low pressure area moves north with it. So if it's been heavier than expected outside D.C., it's going to be heavier than expected outside New York.
It's kind of the old school way of weather forecasting, actually.
Call up Chicago to find out what New York will be tomorrow.
Look upstream. All right, let's send it now to the ground and our own Mike Seidel, who is live in Washington, D.C. for us this evening. And, you know, there's the shot that we're getting out of D.C. right now. And, Mike, what have the conditions been like here since you last talked to us?
Oh, the snow has lightened up a little bit, Mark and Keith. Let's take a little bit of a measurement now. The totals coming in around the district area, generally 5 to 8 inches. Top number I saw with 8 inches out in Gaithersburg. That's out in Montgomery County. That's on the northwest side. We've had some higher totals, 8 to 10 inches well south of the district. But down there, we're starting to get sleet mixing in. Down in southern Maryland, Cove Point there, right off the Patuxent River, they're sleeting right now. So that's going to cut down the accumulations. Richmond has got sleet and snow. They've been snowing all day, now sleeting. And then you get down towards the northern neck and down towards Norfolk. In Norfolk, Virginia Beach, temperatures now have risen up into the mid-40s. Put the snow stick in the snow, about 6 inches there. About 6, and we're supposed to do 3 measurements when you do it like this. And about 5.5. So we'll call it about 6 inches out here. We're also getting the blowing and some of the drifting. So it's not going to be an exact science to measure snow out here. They've done a nice job here at this reflecting pool on the back side, the east side of the Capitol, where they've cleared out. And you can see the plow behind me right now. So they're trying to keep up with a snowfall rate, which has been running generally an inch an hour. We'll get the latest totals coming up, but last hour, 6 at Reagan and 7 at Dulles Airport. Temperatures are in the low 20s. National has jumped up 1 degree to 24. We don't think the sleet is going to get into the district, but again, down in southern Maryland and across on the eastern shore, it's going to over there, it's going to change over to rain. Still snowing over in Salisbury, but the temperature now has gone up from the mid-20s, now up to 33, 34 degrees. So that warm air is surging in as that storm continues to wrap up off North Carolina. And if you look at all the weather observations, what we're seeing at the end of the observations is pressure falling rapidly. So that tells us that the pressure is falling, the storm is getting its act together. There's the radar. Now, what you're seeing down towards the south, you see the green, that's the rain, but just north of there, we're getting some bright banding, and that probably is the radar picking up the sleet. But up here, it's all snow. You can see the banding features, and there's that rainfall down through the northern neck, down into the Tidewater area of Virginia. And that's where the winds have been gusting upwards of 40 to 50 miles an hour. And that's wrapping in the warmer air. Here comes another snowplow. Let's get out of the way. We'll show you what they're doing out here on Louisiana Avenue. Coming around the corner again. Hats off to these guys and gals. They're working 12-hour shifts. I don't know if this is Johnny again. Hey, Johnny's back. Let's talk to Johnny here real quick. Johnny, hey, you're back. You need to pull up a little bit? No, there he is. How have things changed in the past couple of hours, Johnny? Oh, what's that? Worse. Getting worse, huh? Well, it's been. Well, he's saying he's pushing it as fast as it comes down. It's snowing about an inch an hour. So you're keeping up with it pretty good. Fortunately, there's no traffic around. That's the good part, right? We don't need any idiots out here. We only need you professionals out here. Now, you're on a 12-hour shift. When does it wrap up? 6 a.m. And then you'll come back at 6 p.m. tomorrow night? Okay, Johnny.
Probably going to the next Wednesday.
What's your last name?
McCaskill.
Johnny McCaskill?
McCaskill.
McCaskill? And you just mentioned Wednesday, just catching up and... Okay. We'll come back by in another hour. We'll still be here, and you'll still be here. Okay, Johnny McCaskill doing a great job taking care of the streets here in D.C. tonight. Keith, And Mark, you gotta love these folks. Boy, they're working so hard. And, 12-hour shifts. A lot of folks in this situation, the emergency services, I saw some folks from the fire department. They're also working 12-hour shifts. So it's all hands on deck, much like it is at the Weather Channel this weekend. Guys?
Yes, that is right. Thank you, Mike. Mike's making friends out there in Washington, D.C. tonight. And
I think a couple more behind him that may want to make some snow angels and get a selfie with Mike. We've been watching them play in the snow. That said, the storm's really just getting going. You notice all this? That's with the upper level feature, which will also continue to enhance our coastal low and throw all that moisture back into play.
This thing looks really solid. We're talking about this really no dry air in here. The dry air down here is anticipated because the low is now moving away, but really solid band. This is kind of how the computer models show it to you, but it almost never actually turns out that way, right?
Yeah, just look at that moisture plume, though. Those are big-time thunderstorms off the Outer Banks, and it's that kind of tropical moisture that's going to be bending into D.C. So as we quickly run this forward, look at all those heavy snow bands. D.C., Philly, New York, Long Island, all getting in on the act with those heavy snows.
Yeah, New York is going to get some really big stuff there as well.
Amazing views coming up.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees with light snow. Tonight, cloudy with periods of snow after midnight. Low 18. Snowfall around 1 inch. Saturday, variably cloudy with snow showers. High 24. Here's our 7-day outlook.
It's snowing out there.
Sure is. In Snowshoe, West Virginia, appropriately named. It's not bad out. It only feels like -4 right now.
No big deal.
You can see that's pretty sideways as well. That's what kind of strikes me about the particular image we're getting there.
I love that the flakes are so big and moving so fast that the camera can't even deal. It's just these streaks, these solid lines going across the camera. But that's the story, right? If you're out on the roads, this is what it looks like out your windows. Almost no visibility. Just torrential amounts of snow coming down.
The good news is, it doesn't seem like a lot of people are on the roads because this was a well-forecast snowstorm. Here's Wintergreen, Virginia, and another ski area here where it's a little bit harder to tell the scope of the snow, but the visibility is certainly low.
It almost looks like we're looking at the snow guns there, but I don't think they have to put them on tonight. Mother Nature helping out, and look at this. There's like kind of the waves of snow going sideways across the camera here as well. There's going to be some epic pow on the slopes.
I like what you did there.
Who's
that guy we have on in the morning? Tom.
Cooper.
Oh, Cooper.
What's the stoke level on this one?
Oh, this has got to be stoked. It's stoked to 11 in my book.
Yeah.
Oh, baby, yeah. this one is.
I don't know if I've ever seen Tom so excited.
I'll tell you what. I'm from Buffalo, New York, and we get big storms there. But these storms, our storms mean nothing compared to some of the storms that we get on the East Coast because it's a heavy, wet snow, and they often come with very strong winds. Now, we're seeing that at Snowshoe, and I'll tell you what, guys, this storm's starting to show its teeth. And I'm going to show you right now where we are with this. So right on the coast here, here's a surface low right there. It is really starting to intensify and move northeastward here. And to the north of the low, where these lines of constant pressure are very close together, that shows a very big difference in pressure between this low and the high to the north. And that means strong winds. And the winds are really ramping up now. If we take a quick look here at the current winds, look at here in Wallops Island, gusting to 45, Virginia Beach at 43, even at D.C. we're at 28, Atlantic City at 35, and there's a data buoy just off Virginia Beach here that was gusting near 60 miles an hour in the past couple of hours here. All of these winds are really going to increase across this area as we go through the rest of the night, and blizzard conditions are going to be likely. The snow continues to work its way northward here. Very heavy bands of snow, putting down snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches an hour over the past few hours here in Baltimore and Washington. And you can see the rain snow line right here. I don't expect it to move too much further north. That cold air is really locked in here and is going to continue to produce the heavy snow. If we go forward in time now through the rest of the night and into the wee hours of tomorrow morning, finally into the morning, mid-morning hours, the system continues to kind of pivot with this portion of that pivot area just locked in over Washington, Philadelphia, New York City, even through tomorrow at 8 p.m. So in D.C., you've got a good 24-hour period of time with that heavy snow, and Philly and New York, you're going to be very close to that as well. It finally moves off the coast here as we get into that Sunday morning time frame. This is the area that shows the heaviest snowfall here, and note how close it is now to New York City. Yes, we are going to see some more significant snows in New York City. They are going to pick up overnight. Very heavy snow from 6 a.m. tomorrow, and that continues, look, throughout the entire day tomorrow with sustained winds over 30 miles an hour. That right there from Saturday at 10 a.m. through 2 p.m. definitely defines a blizzard, guys. So there's a long way to go with this storm. The silver lining in the cloud is it's occurring on a weekend.
Yeah, if you don't have to go anywhere, don't in this one.
Yeah.
All right, let's take you to Philadelphia right now. One of the spots that's getting hammered with this snowstorm. You should see some buildings in the background. You're going to see snow and some lights instead.
I think that visibility even got worse since the last time we looked at that camera.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees with light snow. Overnight, snow showers, low 18. Snow accumulations less than 1 inch. Saturday, variably cloudy with snow showers, high 23. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Oh, we got a traffic alert if you're planning on traveling through Kentucky here on I-75. We just learned authorities have had to divert traffic along the interstate as a result of treacherous road conditions.
Yeah, there have been some cars apparently stuck, so let's get an information update right now. Joining us live is Walt Lamont from the Kentucky Joint Information Center, part of the Kentucky Emergency Management office there. Walt, give us the update. How many cars are stuck? Where are they? What's the status here?
Okay. Well, we've had cars stuck since about 10 o'clock this morning coming up, and we estimate it's probably around 3,000 vehicles in the northbound side. The southbound lane has been sporadically open all day, but as a precaution, as we've had another round of storms come through and night falling, we've decided to divert traffic off from coming from the north at exit 76, which is in Berea, Kentucky, and the south, it's from exit 41, which is the South London exit. And it's about a 35-mile stretch of highway that we've closed off. What we've had is throughout the day, as soon as we get it cleared, an accident cleared, we've had another one just almost right behind it. So we've got Kentucky State Troopers, members of the Transportation Department of Kentucky with their plows and salt vehicles, as well as recovery assets from the Kentucky National Guard. And we're clearing trucks that have jackknifed, some cars that have slid off the road, and just getting in there and powering off the powder and the ice that we have down there.
Well, can you talk to us a little bit about how many, if any, of these cars are still occupied, or have people taken shelter elsewhere?
Okay. We've just started to open the shelters up off the road, and we're expecting about 100 in each of the shelters. The cars, there are people. We have a local news reporter that's been stuck down there since about 5 o'clock this afternoon, and she's reporting that there's probably 300 cars in the southbound lane that still are occupied. And you know, in the northbound lane, it's a significantly larger number. I'd estimate somewhere around 2,500 cars. We've been fielding calls from distressed motorists all afternoon and early evening, and you know, the transportation people, the people from Kentucky Department of Transportation have really tried everything in their power to get people off of that part of the road. So US 25, which is a road that runs parallel to I-75, is getting a priority cleaning so we can divert and people can take that.
And what kind of comments are you getting in from those distressed motorists? Are people running out of gas? Are they able to stay warm? I know there's a lot of cold air coming in behind this snow.
Biggest concern that we have now are people that are starting to run low on gas, and it's just, you know, it's the frustration that we've been hearing. You know, there have been several people that we've spoken to that have been stranded for anywhere from 5 to 8 hours, and you can imagine what they're going through with that. We've also had some concerns, you know, with some people with small children. Now, we have been able to run up, if there is emergency situations, using side roads and some off-road vehicles to help people. I do not have a count on how many people we've interceded on that, though.
So now that the Highway Patrol has been out there, is there any plan to be able to help those people that are calling? Are they able to find them, locate them, bring them to those shelters?
Yes, because what they're doing is primarily the area that is the most heavily effective is around that mile marker 41 north to mile marker 58, which is just outside of Mount Vernon, Kentucky. That's where the big accident where 2 trucks jackknifed and blocked the road for a significant amount of time. Now, what we're doing is the people that are south of there are 2 exits in between where we're diverting people off and the actual accident. So the KSP is working on diverting those cars that are in that kind of in-between land to one of those other exits to get them offline.
Yeah, that's the only thing you can do at that point.
Thank you, Walt. We will be checking in with you, and we'll be staying on top of this situation developing through the night.
Yeah, coverage continues all night long. We'll bring you updates when we get them.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees with light snow. Overnight, snow showers, low 18. Snow accumulations less than 1 inch. Saturday, variably cloudy with snow showers, high 23. Here's our 7-day outlook.
All right, welcome back. You're taking a look at Snowshoe, West Virginia. They have all the fun there. Look at that. Snow coming down. Feels like -4. It could be a little warmer.
I'm not convinced you can call that coming down.
Coming sideways.
Coming sideways. Yeah. How does it ever reach the ground? There's a wind tunnel part of that resort. My goodness, it almost looks like the snow is climbing at times. It's swirling. Here's another view. Right? This out of the wind tunnel, you can see kind of the swirls of snow. And there's the slopes, maybe a picnic table there on the left side of your screen, which is, you know, the classic shot for measuring snow.
Yeah, any kind of deck furniture we can get. There we go. Thank you. Thank you for that's what we usually get when we're looking at snow. Yes, pretty good looking snow coming down across West Virginia, Virginia, most of the mid-Atlantic, and much of the Northeast. Otherwise, it's quiet here on the Weather Channel.
Yeah. We got one storm, and that's plenty. It's 1:30. I'm Mark Elliott.
And I'm Keith Carson. We're going to stay with you through the night here to talk about Winter Storm Jonas, of course. That is our main/only story. Let's go to our man, Mike Sadell, who's been live for us through the night tonight in Washington, D.C. And I have a question for you, Mike. I noticed the metro is closed. Do you know what the thinking was behind that? Because they don't tend to close that very often.
Say what else is closed? I'm sorry, it was hard to hear that last part of your question.
The metro is closed, and they don't seem to close that very often. Do you know what the thinking was behind that?
Well, they were thinking about getting the trains and the cars underground and keeping them dry and safe. So that's why they decided yesterday to shut it down for the entire weekend. So the rail and bus service is now shut down. The rail shut down about an hour or so ago at 11 o'clock Eastern. So for the rest of the weekend until Monday morning, there is no metro, no buses, no rails, no subway. So there's no way to get around. Cabs are not probably going to be very viable either, or Uber on Saturday, because of the road conditions. The wind still blowing down Louisiana Avenue. We're getting gusts 25 to 30 miles an hour. Snowfall rate is still about an inch an hour. Reagan National now up to 7 inches as of midnight. So they're adding it on at an inch an hour. There's your radar. We can still see the Capitol. So we're still at about a half a mile visibility. There's your radar right now. The rain encroaching now into the lower eastern shore of Maryland. Salisbury now raining 34 degrees. We've had sleet down across the northern neck, southern Maryland, Charles County, St. Mary's County. Now sleet will cut down on the accumulations. Back out here in Washington, it's all snow. We expect it to stay all snow. The change is the intensity will ramp up at times. Also, we'll get a lot more wind. We're talking wind gusts 40, maybe 50 miles an hour, especially east of D.C. out towards the bay. There's a beautiful shot of the Capitol, the rotunda with the scaffolding as they continue to do the reconstruction and the renovation there here in Washington. But you get a sense of how hard it's snowing. Come back out here. We're going to pan and look down Louisiana and look at how desolate it looks out here. There is no traffic, and boy, the snow is just blowing and drifting right down the roadway. And keep in mind about the drifts, how they're going to add into the equation and the problem, especially like on I-81, 66 going out towards the Blue Ridge, out towards Front Royal, and that's where we expect to have accumulations, maybe 30 inches or more. But there's one car coming up. It's probably the Capitol Police, but nobody else in sight out here right now. As we'd expected, it would be a ghost town here in the nation's capital. Temperature 24, as I mentioned, and it's going to snow. This is a long duration event. Now, you cover snowstorms, you think about the meat of the storm, about 8 or 10 hours. This one is going to go for about 18 hours or more. It started snowing around, what was it, around about 2 p.m. this afternoon. And it's going to snow until sometime tomorrow evening. So we're talking about a snowfall window much longer than a typical storm. There's a look at the wind gust out there. Down at Wallops, where they send off the rockets, winds gusting 36 miles an hour. And this is how much more snow we expect to fall across the area. A foot or 2 feet as you get out towards the higher elevations. That's where we're going to have some upslope as you get out towards Front Royal, Winchester, Frederick, Hagerstown, Baltimore City is going to do well. Then you look down in the lower right over on the eastern shore, and that's where we're going to have the snow changing the rain. And then as the cold air comes crashing back in tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening, that'll change the rain back to snow, and we'll get the backwash over there on the lower and central parts of the eastern shore. Here in Washington, as far as professional sports goes, the Wizards game tomorrow with the Utah Jazz, that's been canceled. One of the reasons, not only this issue, but the Jazz are playing, or we're playing the Brooklyn, playing in Brooklyn tonight in New York City, so they really couldn't get down here. The Capitals were supposed to play the Anaheim Ducks at 7. They moved the game back to 5, and then they just canceled the entire hockey match for now. So that's how things go. A lot of college basketball games have either been canceled or rescheduled. So major impacts here. And also flying, forget about it. If you're trying to get in and out of New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, D.C., even Charlotte, tomorrow is going to be one of those days where it's going to be about impossible. Just about every flight has been canceled at this point. And now we've got to move the passengers to Sunday and Monday. So the rippling effect across the country, it's probably going to be Tuesday or Wednesday of next week before everything gets back to average. But if you look at the long-range forecast, European GFS guys, we don't see any other storms on the horizon at this point.
Mike Seidel, great information as always. Try to stay warm. I've watched that feels like temperature drop to near 10, maybe single digits at times because that wind is steadily increasing.
Yeah, the number of times Mike mentioned backwash is the reason no one wants to split a soda with him here at work either. Right, Mike?
How many times did I mention what?
Backwash. You were talking about backwash a lot. Yeah.
Well, well, before I was a meteorologist, I was a plumber. So there you go. Some term that it's just kind of rattling around in my head out here. Hey, you know, It's been a long day, and I'm still hanging out. So, you know, give this old guy a break.
Give him some credit, some slack.
No one is tougher than Mike Seinell. Thank you, Mike, for that report. We'll check back in with you one last time before we let him finally get some sleep. All right, let's talk about what's going on there as far as blizzard warnings. You know, he mentioned a good point about the airports. I remember one time last year in Boston, both Mike and I were told for the Weather Channel, you can come back to Atlanta, you're done. Couldn't get back for a day, solid day, and he's like triple platinum status.
If Mike Seinell's stuck somewhere, it means everyone's stuck somewhere, and chances are everybody's stuck in D.C., in Baltimore, in Philly. It's getting pretty bad in Newark Liberty, LaGuardia, JFK. Yeah. These airports having a tough go. Hey, of course they are, right? The winds that we're expecting here, 50 to 60 miles per hour at the coast, just a little bit further inland, still 40 to 50 mile per hour winds, and buckets of snow.
Right, and part of that too, even places that aren't affected by the snow, you have to think about whether or not your plane is coming from one of those spots. Logan's fine, you know, Chicago fine, but it's going to get there. Right. New York settling into the snow nicely, and they got a long way to go. It'll be snowing all the way through tomorrow night.
Yeah, this was the big model battle, right? Some of them kept that snow line that's here, right about here instead, and now that we're seeing it into the upstate, it means that New York City will probably do pretty well when all is said and done with the snowfall totals.
The NAM was kind of right, and certainly the European model was a little bit too far south with it, so it has its moments. Look at it, just the very coastal areas to even see rain, snow. It's very unusual in that way.
Yeah, D.C. and Baltimore still seeing those banding features, gusty winds, and those continue right on through the overnight hours.
All right, let's take a look at Winter Storm Jonas by the numbers here. 81 million people under winter weather advisories across 23 states.
31 million of those people under blizzard warnings. Then there's the 10 states in the District of Columbia under states of emergency.
And 146,000 customers without power in 12 states due to Jonas. Also, we're following a developing situation in Kentucky here. Some 3,000 cars stranded on Interstate 75 in Winter Storm Jonas.
Yeah, crews are working to get hundreds of people to shelters, many of whom have been stuck in their car since this morning when the snow began and the accident started. We just talked to Kentucky Emergency Management in the last 15 minutes, and we're going to bring you that interview back again because this information is so important.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees with light snow. Overnight, snow showers. Low 18. Snow accumulations less than 1 inch. Saturday, variably cloudy with snow showers. High 23. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Well, we got a traffic alert if you're planning on traveling through Kentucky here on I-75. We just learned authorities have had to divert traffic along the interstate as a result of treacherous road conditions.
Yeah, there have been some cars apparently stuck, so let's get an information update right now. Joining us live is Walt Lamont from the Kentucky Joint Information Center, part of the Kentucky Emergency Management office there. Walt, give us the update. How many cars are stuck? Where are they? What's the status here?
Okay. Well, we've had cars stuck since about 10 o'clock this morning coming up, and we estimate it's probably around 3,000 vehicles in the northbound side. The southbound lane has been sporadically open all day, but as a precaution, as we've had another round of storms come through and night falling, we've decided to divert traffic off from coming from the north at exit 76, which is in Berea, Kentucky, and And the south, it's from exit 41, which is the South London exit. And it's about a 35-mile stretch of highway that we've closed off. What we've had is throughout the day, as soon as we get it cleared, an accident cleared, we've had another one just almost right behind it. So we've got Kentucky State Troopers, members of the Transportation Department of Kentucky with their plows and salt vehicles, as well as recovery assets from the Kentucky National Guard. And we're clearing trucks that have jackknifed, some cars that have slid off the road, and just getting in there and powering off the powder and the ice that we have down there.
Well, can you talk to us a little bit about how many, if any, of these cars are still occupied, or have people taken shelter elsewhere?
Okay. We've just started to open the shelters up off the road, and we're expecting about 100 in each of the shelters. The cars, there are people. We have a local news reporter that's been stuck down there since about 5 o'clock this afternoon, and she's reporting that there's probably 300 cars in the southbound lane that still are occupied. And in the northbound lane, it's a significantly larger number. I'd estimate somewhere around 2,500 cars. We've been fielding calls from distressed motorists all afternoon and early evening. And, the transportation people from Kentucky Department of Transportation have really tried everything in their power to get people off of that part of the road. So US 25, which is a road that runs parallel to I-75, is getting a priority cleaning so we can divert and people can take that.
And what kind of comments are you getting in from those distressed motorists? Are people running out of gas? Are they able to stay warm? I know there's a lot of cold air coming in behind this snow.
Biggest concern that we have now are people that are starting to run low on gas. And it's just, it's the frustration that we've been hearing. There have been several people that we've spoken to that have been stranded for anywhere from 5 to 8 hours, and you can imagine what they're going through with that. We've also had some concerns, with some people with small children. Now, we have been able to run up, if there is emergency situations, using side roads and some off-road vehicles to help people. I do not have a count on how many people we've interceded on that, though.
So now that the Highway Patrol has been out there, is there any plan to be able to help those people that are calling? Are they able to find them, locate them, bring them to those shelters?
Yes, because what they are doing is primarily the area that is most heavily effective is around that mile marker 41 north to mile marker 58, which is just outside of Mount Vernon, Kentucky. That's where the big accident where 2 trucks jackknifed and blocked the road for a significant amount of time. Now, what we're doing is the people that are south of there are 2 exits in between where we're diverting people off and the actual accident. So the KSP is working on diverting those cars that are in that kind of in-between land to one of those other exits to get them offline.
Yeah, that's the only thing you can do at that point.
Thank you, Walt. We will be checking in with you, and we'll be staying on top of this situation developing through the night.
Yeah, coverage continues all night long. We'll bring you updates when we get them.
Take a look right now at what we got going on as far as radar out there, and you can see some pretty good snow still ongoing, and also some pretty gusty winds as well, gusting 20-25 miles an hour. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, and here's a look at Times Square right now. Always some peeps out there hanging around.
The city that never sleeps. Of course there's peeps out.
Some snow on the sidewalks there. A couple people taking a selfie, I think. Hopefully.
New York City in the snow is quite the romantic place.
It is.
I mean, Central Park, I wouldn't necessarily advise going there now. A little late, but tomorrow, if you can get there and still see where you're going, it's going to be very pretty. Times Square lit up. You got the snowflakes flying. It's pretty nice.
I went around Christmas kind of hoping for this, and it was actually
75 degrees
It was
or so?
73
pretty
on
close.
Christmas Day. All right, even at this late hour, many people on the Jersey Shore are having to decide whether or not they should stay home or evacuate.
Yeah, it's all due to a threat of coastal flooding, and the Weather Channel's Reagan Medji has more from Stone Harbor, New Jersey.
We're here in Stone Harbor, New Jersey, where Winter Storm Jonas ramping up. We got the snow falling down, of course, the winds picking up. And now that snow is kind of a light, fluffy snow. What we're most concerned here in Stone Harbor is the wind, because with that, they're looking at flooding, and they're also looking at the possibility of power outages. But our journey did not start here. It actually started in Ortley Beach, about an hour and a half north of here near Seaside Heights. We have video of the dunes. They had the Office of Emergency Management had been spending the entire week building up dunes to protect the community. activity. Then we headed down south a little bit. We went to Harvey Cedars on Long Beach Island, and there you can see some beach erosion. That beach erosion happened back in October during a storm. Now, the Office of Emergency Management there, also the mayor, says we're worried that with this storm, it's just going to erode the beach even more. And then we ended up going even further south to Sea Isle City, where we met a guy who has had his business in the family for over 100 years. His grandparents came over from Italy, and he says he is making sure that he does everything to secure his business. And he says if that means boarding up what she's doing, taking everything off the floor and putting it up. So he says because he really is expecting it to flood. But of course, Winter Storm Jonas is no joke. You want to make sure that you take precaution, make sure that you have the necessary equipment inside your home in case the power does go out. We're now here in Stone Harbor, New Jersey. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Reagan. Let's take a look at what's going on with this winter storm. Now, blizzard warnings, of course, in D.C. You know, we've been harping on them, and rightly so, but Philadelphia and New York.
Yeah, extended a little bit, too. So the Upton office here in New York has extended those blizzard warnings throughout Long Island, but also now southern Connecticut has been issued. A little bit of southern upstate New York, too,
Just
under
a
blizzard
sliver.
warnings.
It's kind of interesting. I mean, I get why they did it. Just right along the coast there, yeah, Bridgeport.
And you got to assume there's going to be more wind there, too. Less friction right over the water. You get Long Island Sound involved. That'll kick up some of those higher gusts,
the winds,
too.
Right.
But as for the snowfall, no slouch. Remember, snow does not necessarily factor in at all to the blizzard warnings. You just need low visibility, and for that you need wind and maybe some snow even blowing off the ground. That said, there's plenty of snow falling tonight.
Right, yeah, and so there's New York. There's some good banding coming into Atlantic City. And Atlantic City, typically a place you would think would change over, but that rain snow line right now offshore still.
It should stay just offshore. You get towards Cape May, there might be a little bit of that mixing, so it's going to limit their totals to like 10 inches.
Oh, only 10 inches.
This is a gargantuan storm when you're talking about the rain snow line lowering limits to double-digit snows.
Yeah, and here's that plume of moisture coming right into the Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Salisbury, Maryland as well, dealing with this. And, you know, I actually, in that first frame you showed us, southern and central Georgia still snowing, Mississippi and Alabama. Some of the snow getting all the way to the Gulf of Mexico, basically.
Yeah, and you know what, D.C. now, for I believe the first time tonight, reporting heavy snow officially in the official airport ob now. So
S+.
Yes, there's more to come. Look at this. The model's doing a decent job at kind of picking out these small scale but very important banding features for the big time snowfall totals.
Yeah, and there it is going through New York. New York's going to be dealing with this through most of the day tomorrow, probably through part of tomorrow night. Everybody's in good shape marked by Sunday. Sunday.
So let's hope we can get through to there, right?
All right, we've got coming up, we're going to keep you all night long. We've got Nick Walker and Ray Stager coming up next.
That's true. Plus, look at that heavy snow in D.C. Look at that.
A winter storm warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 19 degrees with light snow. Overnight, snow showers. Low 18. Snow accumulations less than 1 inch. Saturday, variably cloudy with snow showers. High 23. Here's our 7-day outlook.